Hey truckers, today we're seeing part 22 of Villain Tricks Heroines into Hating the MC. Let's dive into the video. Wang Jian stood in the large chamber, his eyes gazing upon the 4 elven princesses that had been brought to him. They were all naked, their bodies on full display for his pleasure. Their long, flowing hair cascaded down their backs like waterfalls, and their skin glistened in the dim light of the chamber. Discover new Tories at nv/lbin.c/o. He approached the first princess, a tall and slender beauty with pale skin and pointed ears. He grabbed her hair roughly and forced her to her knees. He then positioned himself between her legs and thrust his cock deep inside her. She let out a gasp of pain but was quickly silenced by his hand clamped over her mouth. He began to pound her mercilessly, her body bouncing up and down on his shaft. As he finished with the first princess, he moved on to the next. This one was a bit shorter than the first, with auburn hair and delicate features. Wang Jian flipped her over and entered her from behind, holding her hips tightly as he pumped his cock in and out of her wetness. She cried out in pain but was also unable to escape his grasp. The third princess was a raven-haired beauty with full lips and large breasts. Wang Jian stood her up against the wall and took her roughly from behind, thrusting his cock into her from behind. He grabbed her hair and pulled her head back, causing her to arch her back in submission. Finally, he approached the fourth and final princess. This one was the youngest, with porcelain skin and long, silky blonde hair. Wang Jian knelt before her and took her small hands in his own, forcing her to give him a blowjob. He groaned with pleasure as she bobbed her head up and down on his cock. As the sun began to rise, Wang Jian collapsed onto the floor, exhausted but satisfied. He had spent the entire day and night fucking each of the 4 elven princesses in turn, leaving them bruised and sore but also addicted to his touch. They had all experienced pain and humiliation, but now they could not deny the intense pleasure that only he could give them. And so, they became his slaves, forever. Wang Jian rose to his feet, surveying the scene before him. The 4 princesses lay naked and spent, their bodies covered in sweat and semen. He knew that they would never forget this day, nor would they ever be able to resist him again. With a satisfied smirk, Wang Jian turned and left the chamber, leaving the elven princesses to clean up the mess he had made. Despite the indulgence in these intimate encounters, Wang Jian found that the recovery of his mysterious power was slower than anticipated. After engaging with all 4 princesses, he managed to replenish only 1 million destiny points. Though somewhat lower than his expectations, Wang Jian let out a sigh of contentment. It was a favorable outcome considering the circumstances. Leaving the princesses in their resplendent chamber, Wang Jian sought out Alindra, the elf queen, who awaited him in a secluded part of the World Tree Elven Dominion. The 2 lovers found solace under the ancient branches, surrounded by the subtle hum of nature's magic. Alindra asked curiously, "Did my daughters please you, Jian?" They certainly are your daughters. Their beauty and their bodies satisfied me a lot," Wang Jian spoke with a smirk. Wang Jian, leaning against the colossal trunk, gazed at the sparkling canopy above. "It's time we set our sights on the minor worlds that have opened within the northern region. Those realms are teeming with opportunities, resources, and challenges. I have a feeling they'll be a playground worthy of our endeavors." Alindra nodded in agreement. "Yes, let us explore these new realms and, if necessary, assert our dominance. The elves shall thrive beyond the borders of our own dominion." With a final exchange of words, Wang Jian took his leave, ready to explore the uncharted territories beyond the spatial portals. His destination, a minor world dominated by the powerful minotaurs. As he stepped through the portal, the scenery transformed, revealing a vast landscape dominated by towering cliffs and labyrinthine caves. The air carried the musky scent of the minotaurs, signaling their territorial dominance. Soon after, Wang Jian could feel something strange in this world. He could feel the laws of this minor world trying to resist his presence. It was as if they recognized him as a foreign body and wanted to get rid of him. Wang Jian enveloped himself with a thin coating of energy that utilized very low qi and the power of laws. There was another thing that Wang Jian noticed. He couldn't recover his qi or the power of laws by absorbing it from his surroundings. It appears that I need to be prudent in utilizing my powers. If I exhaust myself too quickly, I will need to return back to the continent through the portal. Wang Jian decided to check out his opponents. For the next few days, he observed that while the Minotaurs possessed incredible physical prowess and combat talent, their intellectual faculties left much to be desired. It became evident that exploiting their lack of strategic thinking would be key to his success. Setting his plan in motion, Wang Jian began crafting intricate traps embedded with array talismans. These enchanted symbols, when triggered, unleashed potent attacks designed to incapacitate or eliminate the unsuspecting Minotaurs. The first array talisman he deployed was the Thunderstrike Array, a trap concealed within the rocky terrain. When activated, it summoned a barrage of lightning bolts, striking down a group of unsuspecting Minotaurs. The electrifying display left no room for escape. Next in line was the Cyclone Snare Array. Strategically placed near a cave entrance, this array talisman created a powerful vortex, ensnaring Minotaurs within its spiraling winds. The disoriented creatures were left vulnerable to Wang Jian's subsequent strikes. In the heart of the Minotaur territory, Wang Jian implemented the Inferno Barrage Array. This formidable trap ignited the surroundings with raging flames, catching the Minotaurs off guard and sending them into a frenzied retreat. As he continued his conquest, Wang Jian utilized the Petrification Net Array. Concealed among the rocky crags, this array talisman released a web of petrifying energy, turning Minotaurs to stone statues. The once mighty creatures now stood frozen, easy targets for Wang Jian to dispose of. By utilizing these traps, Wang Jian managed to slaughter quite a number of Minotaurs at the Saint Realm cultivation without utilizing much of his energy. Amidst the labyrinthine caves and towering cliffs of the Minotaur-dominated minor world, Wang Jian set out to interrogate a couple of the powerful Minotaurs. His objective was clear: to locate the world heart that governed this realm. Through his questioning, Wang Jian gleaned valuable information about the world heart. It possessed a unique and potent ability, continuously releasing the power of laws that had augmented the Minotaur's physical prowess beyond the norm. Their physique now rivaled that of the barbarians, yet their natural combat sense surpassed even the formidable warriors. Equipped with this newfound knowledge, Wang Jian embarked on a journey through the vast and treacherous landscapes of the Minotaur-dominated territory. Utilizing a combination of his abilities, including the blazing solar flames and the transformative devil technique that harnessed the shadow element and moon attribute, he engaged in relentless battles with the Minotaurs. In one encounter after another, Wang Jian showcased his prowess, employing techniques like the Solar Flare Cyclone, a devastating combination of solar flames and swirling cyclones that decimated groups of Minotaurs. The battle soon escalated into a war as the Minotaurs responded fiercely, employing techniques such as the Earthshatter Charge, a relentless rush enhanced by the power of the World Heart. The clash between Wang Jian and the Minotaurs became a symphony of power, with each combatant unleashing unique techniques. Wang Jian's Shadow Step Inferno allowed him to swiftly move between shadows, confounding his adversaries, while the Minotaurs countered with the Stone Crush Roar, a deafening roar that disrupted Wang Jian's concentration. As the battles raged on, Wang Jian strategically advanced, his Devil Transformation technique casting an eerie shadow over the Minotaur horde. The Lunar Mirage Blade, a skill combining moon attribute power and illusionary tactics, proved instrumental in outmaneuvering the Minotaurs. The Minotaurs countered with the Boulder Smash Torrent, a coordinated assault that aimed to overwhelm Wang Jian with sheer brute force. The clash intensified as Wang Jian seamlessly wove through the torrent of attacks, leaving a trail of defeated Minotaurs in his wake. As the battle reached its climax, Wang Jian, utilizing his Eclipse Serpent Strike, delivered a precision attack that incapacitated the Minotaur leader. With the path cleared, he ventured deeper into the labyrinth, drawing closer to the elusive world heart. Finally reaching the heart of the labyrinth, Wang Jian confronted the radiant core of the world heart. The air shimmered with ethereal energy as he extended his hand to grasp the pulsating orb. A notification from his system appeared. A world heart has been discovered. Does host wish to fuse it with his sea of qi? Yes, Wang Jian responded immediately, and the fusion process began. The world heart's energies melded seamlessly with Wang Jian's sea of qi, creating a harmonious convergence of power. The once distinct boundaries between the minor world and Wang Jian's essence blurred, as he became a vessel for the enhanced powers of the world heart. The fusion radiated an otherworldly glow, signifying the amalgamation of two potent forces. Wang Jian's newly acquired abilities now bore the imprint of the Minotaur-dominated minor world's unique essence. Through the fusion with the world heart, Wang Jian gained 1.5 million destiny points. The fusion bestowed upon him the strength law, seamlessly integrated with his qi. Additionally, a newfound ability emerged, divine combat sense. This skill not only enhanced his combat effectiveness but also elevated his mastery over qi control. As a result, the expenditure of qi in executing battle techniques was reduced to an almost negligible amount. Wang Jian emerged back into the real world, the residue of ethereal energy from the fusion still clinging to his form. Making his way to the heart of the World Tree Elven Dominion, he sought out Elf Queen Alindra, his dear lover and partner in both love and strategy. Master, Alindra greeted him affectionately, a warm smile lighting up her ethereal features. My dear, Wang Jian replied, his tone a mix of casualness and authority. He then proceeded to share the details of his conquest in the minor world dominated by minotaurs. It's a rather quaint place, smaller than even the northern region, Wang Jian began, leaning against a majestic tree in the Elven Dominion. Population is limited to, around 100k minotaurs. But here's the kicker, you can't absorb the energy from that world to recover your qi and the power of laws. It means once you're out, it's all about raw physical strength. Alindra furrowed her brows, processing the information. So, it's a battle of endurance and strength. We'll need to be strategic about our resources, Master. Wang Jian nodded, appreciating her quick grasp of the situation. Exactly, my dear. It adds a layer of challenge, but it also makes things interesting. We'll have to rely on our inherent abilities and combat skills without the safety net of qi regeneration. The Elf Queen's eyes gleamed with determination. We've faced challenges before, Master. This will be no different. We adapt, we conquer. Wang Jian chuckled, his gaze locked with Alindra's. That's the spirit, my dear. I knew you'd understand. So, what's our next move, Master? Alindra inquired, her eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and readiness. Wang Jian outlined their plan, we explore more minor worlds, strategically choosing ones that align with our strengths. We adapt our tactics based on the unique challenges each world presents. Wang Jian, with an air of confidence, decided to tap into the full potential of his subordinates using the Soul Board, a power that had been a game-changer in his conquests. As he activated the intricate web of connections, the latent abilities of his forces began to surge, reaching the pinnacle of their potential. In the everlasting mystical empire, warriors once bound by limits now found themselves transcending their previous boundaries. The Verzen Empire's soldiers stood taller and stronger, their combat prowess enhanced to unprecedented levels. Members of the three great sects and the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion experienced a surge in their spiritual powers, gaining newfound clarity and strength. The Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, known for their dark arts, saw their demonic forces amplify. The eerie energies around them intensified, signifying an increase in their potency. Even the elven race, with their connection to nature, felt a harmonious surge in their elemental control and magical prowess. As for the barbarian race, now under Wang Jian's dominion, their raw strength and primal instincts reached a zenith. The Soul Board's influence resonated through the ranks, creating a formidable force ready to follow Wang Jian's every command. In the midst of this empowerment, Wang Jian turned to his second queen, Fen Shuiying. Entrusting her with a vital mission, he ordered her to lead a contingent from her Night Dagger clan to scout the minor worlds in the southern region. Fen Shuiying, my dear second queen, your talents make you the perfect candidate for this task, Wang Jian remarked, his voice carrying a mix of authority and trust. Fen Shuiying, a Saint Realm cultivator with a bloodline capable of concealing her presence, acknowledged Wang Jian's command with a respectful nod. I shall carry out this mission with utmost discretion, husband. With that, Fen Shuiying gathered her elite subordinates, each skilled in stealth and reconnaissance. Cloaked in the darkness of their bloodline powers, they set out to explore the uncharted minor worlds in the southern region. Visit N0VL/BIN. For the best novel reading experience. Meanwhile, in the northern states, Wang Jian mobilized the Verzen Empire's experts to explore the newly revealed minor worlds. Though not at the Saint Realm, their sheer numbers compensated for any individual lack in abilities. Days passed, and reports from the scouts began to pour in. Each piece of information became a puzzle piece in their overarching strategy. Wang Jian meticulously planned their next moves, leveraging the strengths of each faction under his command. The southern region revealed minor worlds with lush landscapes and peculiar creatures, each presenting unique challenges and opportunities. Fen Shuiying's stealthy reconnaissance allowed her to gather valuable insights without alerting potential adversaries. In the northern states, the Verzen Empire's scouts navigated icy terrains and mountainous landscapes, discovering minor worlds that held untapped resources and mysteries waiting to be unveiled. Back in the World Tree Elven Dominion, Wang Jian received updates from his subordinates. Hubby, the southern region is full of surprises. We've found a minor world teeming with rare herbs and spiritual plants, Fen Shuiying reported, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Wang Jian nodded approvingly. Good work, my dear wife. Keep exploring and gather everything of value. As the scouting efforts continued, Wang Jian pondered the endless possibilities presented by the minor worlds. The strategic advantage of acquiring rare resources and expanding their territories fueled his ambitions. With information streaming in from the scouts, Wang Jian swiftly went into strategic mode. He began assigning the conquered minor worlds to particularly powerful Saint Realm experts within his faction and alliance. The vast array of possibilities lay before them, each minor world a potential boon or challenge waiting to be unraveled. Out of the 379 minor world portals scattered across the northern states and the southern region, Wang Jian efficiently allocated experts to around 300 of them. The remaining 79, however, were deemed a bit too much for even his formidable subordinates. Wang Jian, the calculating strategist, decided that these would require his personal touch. Before dispatching his subordinates to their designated conquests, Wang Jian laid down a crucial order: they were to bring back the world heart of each conquered minor world. The ominous weight of this directive lingered in the air as his subordinates processed the implications. Emperor Wang Jian's reputation preceded him, and each of his subordinates knew the consequences of disobedience. The mere thought of antagonizing the devilish emperor sent shivers down their spines. The unspoken understanding among them was crystal clear: crossing Wang Jian meant facing a fate worse than death. As the commanders set out on their respective missions, the territories of the everlasting mystical empire, the Verzen Empire, the Beast Race, the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan, the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, and the Elven race expanded into uncharted territories. The canvas of their conquests stretched far and wide, each minor world a potential jewel in their growing dominion. Wang Jian, with his keen strategic mind, monitored the progress closely. Reports flooded in, detailing the challenges faced and the triumphs achieved. The conquered minor worlds were like pieces on a chessboard, each move inching them closer to complete dominance. Within the northern states and the southern region, the alliance's influence solidified as they claimed territory after territory. The once disjointed minor worlds now bore the mark of Wang Jian's alliance, their world hearts pulsating in synchronization with the conquering force. In the ever-expanding tapestry of conquest and intrigue, Wang Jian's faction wasn't the only force with eyes set on the minor worlds. Jiang Chen's faction, operating with ambition and precision, sought dominion over the minor worlds in the western deserts and certain territories in the central region of the Sky Martial continent. The race for supremacy unfolded on multiple fronts. Yet, amidst this grand chessboard of power, it was the Heavenly Court that emerged as the wild card, swiftly moving its pieces across the board. With an unmatched pace, they targeted the minor worlds, sending their experts to conquer and assimilate at an astonishing rate. Of the 400 minor worlds, the Heavenly Court had already extended its reach to 300, standing on the precipice of absolute domination. The efficiency of the Heavenly Court's conquest left both Wang Jian's faction and Jiang Chen's faction astounded. Questions lingered in the minds of the factions: how was the Heavenly Court achieving such rapid success, and what would transpire once all the minor worlds fell under the control of these major forces? The gears of speculation turned, each faction trying to decipher the Heavenly Court's strategy. As the map of the Sky Martial continent transformed with each conquered minor world, the looming presence of the Heavenly Court cast a shadow over the other factions. Wang Jian, Jiang Chen, and the leaders of various factions couldn't help but wonder about the Heavenly Court's endgame. It became apparent that the Heavenly Court had no intention of slowing down. Whispers of an impending clash between the Heavenly Court and other major factions reverberated through the continent. The prospect of conflict hung in the air like a gathering storm, threatening to shatter the fragile balance that had briefly settled over the Sky Martial continent. The fate of the minor worlds, coveted for their unique resources and power, had become the focal point of a colossal power struggle. The major factions, each with its designs and aspirations, now faced the formidable challenge posed by the Heavenly Court's dominance. As the race for dominance over the minor worlds unfolded, each major faction strategically targeted specific regions, sparking a frenzied conquest that would shape the future of the Sky Martial continent. In the western deserts, Jiang Chen's faction swiftly advanced, seizing control of the minor worlds with calculated precision. The echoes of their success reverberated through the arid landscapes as they harnessed the unique resources of these realms. Simultaneously, in the central region, the Heavenly Court orchestrated a methodical takeover of the minor worlds. Their strategic maneuvers and overwhelming force paved the way for the expansion of their immortal dominion, leaving other factions to speculate on the source of their unstoppable momentum. In the northern and southern regions, Wang Jian's forces embarked on a relentless campaign, claiming one minor world after another. The pace of their conquest mirrored the determination of their leader, setting the stage for a significant shift in power dynamics. However, the most surprising developments occurred in the eastern seas, where two factions emerged as dominant contenders for supremacy over the minor worlds. One was the sea monster race, strategically deploying large numbers of their experts to swiftly conquer each minor world, aiming to seize the coveted world hearts. On the other side of the conflict stood Wang Hao, a human whose exploits were rapidly becoming the stuff of legends. As the sole inheritor of the god of war's spirit, Wang Hao had traversed the continent, honing his skills and absorbing the guidance of the formidable spirit. News of a human ascending to dominance in the eastern seas spread like wildfire. Among those who took particular interest were the remnants of human royal families and noble families. Once part of the eastern seas, they had been forced to flee as the sea monster race claimed their territories. Seeing a glimmer of hope in Wang Hao, they decided to join forces with him. The prospect of reclaiming their lost territories from the sea monsters fueled their determination. In a unanimous decision, these royal and noble families pledged allegiance to Wang Hao, selecting him as their collective leader. The collaboration sparked a massive war, a unified effort to push back the sea monster race and reclaim the eastern seas. the once scattered remnants of royal families and noble families, now united under Wang Hao's banner, unleashed a powerful counteroffensive against the sea-dwelling invaders. Wang Hao's presence infused a renewed sense of purpose and determination among the humans, inspiring them to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. The war in the eastern seas became a tumultuous clash, with both sides vying for supremacy and control over the precious minor worlds. The eastern seas roared with the clash of civilizations as Wang Hao, the human leader, faced off against the mighty sea monster race in an epic battle for dominance. The battleground was adorned with towering cliffs, turbulent waters, and the distinct scent of the sea, setting the stage for a confrontation of unprecedented proportions. The sea monster race, divided into various clans, showcased their unique abilities as they confronted the united front of the human forces. Among these clans were the Azure Tide clan, known for their mastery over water manipulation, and the Thunderous Leviathan clan, whose members could summon lightning bolts to strike down their adversaries. As the first wave of the battle unfolded, the sea monster race unleashed their formidable bloodlines, enhancing their physical prowess and granting them access to devastating abilities. The humans, however, were well prepared, employing rare pellets and array formations to counter the onslaught. The clash of techniques and bloodline flares painted a chaotic yet captivating spectacle across the eastern seas. Wang Hao, leading the charge, wielded his awe-inspiring axe known as the Storm Cleaver. With each swing, the axe harnessed the power of the god of war, tearing through the ranks of the sea monster race. Wang Hao's techniques, infused with the essence of the god of war, resonated with overwhelming might. One such technique, the Divine War Strike, cleaved through the water, creating shockwaves that reverberated through the battlefield. F0 Low New Hapters at nov/el/bin/.com. The leaders of the noble families and royal families fought alongside Wang Hao, each displaying their unique skills. Lady Seraphina, a skilled archer, utilized the Celestial Volley technique, raining arrows upon the Thunderous Leviathan clan. Lord Tyrion, a master of ancient runes, employed the runic shield, creating protective barriers to shield his comrades from the ferocious attacks of the Azure Tide clan. The battle unfolded as a dynamic exchange of blows and counterattacks. Wang Hao, channeling the power of the god of war, stood at the forefront, confronting 4 Saint Realms sea monster experts simultaneously. His every move carried the weight of divine authority, as the war god's roar echoed across the seas, disrupting the concentration of his adversaries. The sea monster race, formidable in their own right, fought with resilience and strategic acumen. The Thunderous Leviathan clan summoned storms, attempting to drown the human forces, while the Azure Tide clan manipulated water currents to disorient and overwhelm their opponents. Bloodline abilities clashed with array formations, creating a symphony of chaos and power. In the midst of the battle, Wang Hao unleashed the full potential of the Stormcleaver, its razor-sharp edge cutting through the water and enemies alike. The axe, a divine relic, resonated with the god of war's spirit, embodying a force that seemed to transcend mortal limits. Wang Hao's indomitable presence became a rallying point for the human forces, pushing back against the sea monster race. As the clash intensified, casualties mounted on both sides. Yet, it became apparent that the united human forces were gradually gaining the upper hand. The sea monster race, faced with the relentless determination of Wang Hao and his allies, found their forces being steadily pushed back. Wang Hao, with the Stormcleaver in hand, carved a path through the sea of adversaries. His aura, an embodiment of divine wrath, radiated across the battlefield. With a final, resounding swing, the Divine War Strike struck at the heart of the sea monster forces, turning the tides in favor of the human alliance. The sea monster race, battered and weary, retreated into the depths of the eastern seas. The remnants of their forces scattered, leaving behind a battlefield marked by the resilience of the united human front. Wang Hao, his companions, and the leaders of the noble and royal families stood victorious, their efforts rewriting the narrative of the eastern seas. As the echoes of battle subsided, the human forces took stock of their victory, realizing that the war was far from over. The victory in the eastern seas was but a fleeting respite, for as the echoes of triumph settled, new challenges emerged on the horizon. The sea monster race, far from defeated, regrouped with swift determination, unleashing additional clans to counter the relentless advance of the human forces. Among the newly arrived clans was the Abyssal Serpent clan, masters of shadowy illusions and stealth. Their members moved through the water like phantoms, elusive and deadly. As the humans struggled to adapt to this unforeseen threat, the Abyssal Serpent clan orchestrated ambushes, striking swiftly and retreating into the depths before retaliation could be mounted. To further complicate matters, the Maelstrom Sirens joined the fray. These seductive creatures wielded a mesmerizing allure that entranced even the most seasoned warriors among the human forces. The Maelstrom Sirens' melodic songs resonated through the seas, clouding the minds of their adversaries and sowing discord within the ranks of the united human front. As the battle unfolded, the united human forces found themselves entangled in a multifaceted struggle against the diversified sea monster clans. The Abyssal Serpent clan's illusions confounded their perception, while the Maelstrom Sirens' enchanting melodies threatened to disrupt their unity. Despite the challenges, Wang Hao and his allies maintained their resolve, adapting their strategies to counter the evolving threats. Wang Hao, wielding the Stormcleaver with unyielding determination, confronted the Abyssal Serpent clan head-on. His divine axe cleaved through illusions, dispelling the shadows that sought to confound his senses. With a thunderous roar, Wang Hao unleashed the war god's resolve, a technique that fortified the minds of his allies against the insidious influence of the Abyssal Serpent clan. The leaders of the noble families and royal families, each facing a unique challenge, displayed remarkable resilience. Lady Seraphina, with her acute archery skills, targeted the elusive members of the Abyssal Serpent clan, piercing through their illusions with deadly precision. Lord Tyrion, adept at deciphering runes, erected protective barriers to shield his comrades from the illusions that threatened to disorient them. Meanwhile, the Maelstrom Sirens' enchanting melodies posed a different kind of threat. The united human front faced a psychological battle as the captivating tunes sought to sow discord and confusion. It became apparent that brute strength alone would not suffice against foes who could manipulate perception and exploit the vulnerabilities of the human psyche. In response, Wang Hao called upon his innate connection with the god of war's spirit. The divine resonance of the Stormcleaver echoed through the seas, countering the Maelstrom Sirens' melodies with a resolute war anthem. The empowering rhythm bolstered the morale of the human forces, shielding them from the psychological onslaught. As the battle raged on, the clash between the sea monster race and the united human forces intensified. The ebb and flow of the conflict reflected the intricate dance between the various clans, each contributing to the symphony of chaos that unfolded beneath the surface of the eastern seas. Wang Hao, recognizing the need for a strategic shift, devised a plan to counter the sea monster clan's combined assault. He ordered the deployment of specialized squads, each tasked with neutralizing a specific threat. Lady Seraphina led the Illusion Breaker archers, focusing on dismantling the Abyssal Serpent clan's illusions. Lord Tyrion commanded the Rune Wardens, responsible for creating barriers to resist the Maelstrom Sirens' enchantments. In the face of these targeted countermeasures, the sea monster clans found their advantages waning. The illusions of the Abyssal Serpent clan crumbled under the relentless accuracy of the Illusion Breaker archers, while the enchanting melodies of the Maelstrom Sirens were met with unwavering mental fortitude. Wang Hao, with the Stormcleaver as his beacon of divine power, moved with strategic precision, orchestrating the human forces to strike at the weakened sea monster clans. The tides of battle turned, and the united human front began to regain control over the eastern seas. Yet, even as victory seemed within reach, a new revelation surfaced: deep-sea trenches concealed yet another wave of sea monster reinforcements. These colossal sea behemoths, known as the Leviathan Wardens, emerged with overwhelming force, challenging the exhausted human forces. As the colossal Leviathan Wardens unleashed devastating attacks, the united human forces faced their greatest trial yet. The eastern seas, once a realm of conquest, now stood as a battleground teeming with uncharted threats. Wang Hao and his allies, their mettle tested in the crucible of conflict, prepared to face the relentless onslaught of the Leviathan Wardens and unravel the mysteries that lay beneath the turbulent waters. As the battle in the eastern seas reached a fevered pitch, the sea monster race, facing the relentless onslaught of the united human forces, decided to unleash their ultimate trump card, a trio of immortal realm sea monsters. These colossal beings, each hailing from different clans, emerged with an aura that resonated with the profound laws of heaven and earth. The first of these immortal realm sea monsters was the Azure Abyssal Sovereign, a majestic creature with shimmering scales that reflected the depths of the ocean. Possessing the ability to manipulate water at its most fundamental level, the Azure Abyssal Sovereign unleashed devastating tidal waves that swept through the human forces, overwhelming them with the sheer force of the sea. The second immortal realm sea monster, known as the Typhoon Tempest Lord, commanded the tempests and hurricanes of the eastern seas. With a single roar, it summoned whirlwinds of unparalleled intensity, tearing through the united human forces and scattering them like leaves in a storm. The third and final immortal realm sea monster, the Abyssal Frost Monarch, wielded the power of ice and frost with an otherworldly elegance. Its chilling breath froze the waters, creating treacherous icebergs that trapped and immobilized the human warriors, leaving them vulnerable to subsequent attacks. The united human forces, despite their resilience, found themselves pushed to the brink of annihilation by the overwhelming might of these immortal realm sea monsters. Their abilities, rooted in the profound laws of nature, proved insurmountable for the human warriors, who struggled to withstand the elemental onslaught. It was at this critical juncture that Wang Hao, recognizing the dire straits faced by his comrades, stepped forward. A resolute gleam flickered in his eyes as he made a fateful decision to temporarily relinquish control of his body to the indomitable spirit of the god of war residing within him. As the transformation occurred, Wang Hao's entire demeanor shifted. The divine aura of the god of war enveloped him, and the very air seemed to vibrate with the resonance of an ancient battlefield. The god of war's spirit, tapping into the forbidden depths of its power, unleashed a technique known as the divine war sunder. This forbidden attack, infused with the essence of divine warfare, targeted the weaknesses of the immortal realm sea monsters. With a resounding clash, the divine war sunder struck the trio, creating shockwaves that reverberated through the eastern seas. The power of the god of war's spirit resonated with the laws of heaven and earth, gravely injuring the immortal realm sea monsters and forcing them to retreat in disarray. The wave of terror that swept across the sea monster race was palpable. The once confident immortal realm sea monsters, wounded by the forbidden might of the god of war, recoiled in shock and dismay. The members of the united human forces, witnessing this unprecedented turn of events, erupted into cheers that echoed across the eastern seas. However, victory came at a cost. Up TED chapters nnvelben.com. As the god of war's spirit returned control of the body to Wang Hao, the toll of wielding such forbidden power became evident. Wang Hao's body bore the scars of the divine onslaught, injuries that would have proven fatal if not for his enhanced regenerative abilities. Gasping for breath, he managed to retain consciousness, though the price of tapping into the god of war's forbidden power left him weakened and vulnerable. The god of war's spirit, having exerted its immense power, entered a state of deep slumber within Wang Hao's consciousness. The profound connection between man and spirit lingered, leaving behind a profound sense of awe and trepidation among the human forces. In the aftermath of the battle, the united human forces, though battered and worn, stood victorious against the sea monster race. The news of Wang Hao's astounding victory against the immortal realm sea monsters spread like wildfire across the entire world. Even the mighty factions such as the Heavenly Court, Wang Jian's everlasting mystical empire, and Jiang Chen's forces were left in shock. They hadn't anticipated the emergence of another formidable faction, one led by an individual with the power to challenge immortal realm beings. News of the stunning victory in the eastern seas, where Wang Hao single-handedly defeated 3 immortal realm sea monsters, reverberated across the entire world. Even the Heavenly Court, Wang Jian's faction, and Jiang Chen's forces were taken aback by the unexpected rise of this formidable new power. In the heart of the everlasting mystical empire, where Wang Jian's influence reigned supreme, the news reached three individuals with complex emotions: Yan Niu, Wang Hao's mother; Wang Ying, Wang Hao's sister from a different mother; and Luo Qiu, Wang Ying's mother. These three women, entangled in intricate relationships with Wang Jian, found themselves caught in the whirlwind of emotions as they learned about Wang Hao's ascension to prominence. Yan Niu felt a mixture of surprise and concern for her estranged son. She hadn't seen Wang Hao for years, and the news of his exploits both amazed and worried her. Wang Ying felt a surge of complicated feelings as she processed the information. Wang Ying hadn't expected Wang Hao to resurface, let alone emerge as a force to be reckoned with. Luo Qiu, Wang Ying's mother and a woman entangled in a complex relationship with Wang Jian, felt a mix of astonishment and trepidation. The rise of Wang Hao posed both an opportunity and a threat. On one hand, it hinted at the possibility of liberation from Wang Jian's dominance. On the other, the unpredictable nature of Wang Hao's actions stirred apprehension about the potential upheaval in their lives. As the news spread, the three women shared furtive glances and unspoken sentiments, each grappling with their own hopes and fears in the wake of Wang Hao's unexpected resurgence. Aware of the complicated emotions swirling among the women connected to him, Wang Jian decided to address the matter head-on. He summoned Yan Niu, Wang Ying, and Luo Qiu to his private chamber, where an air of tension and unspoken thoughts hung thick. As the three women entered, Wang Jian reclined on a lavish chair, his eyes fixated on Yan Niu. With a wicked grin, he casually inquired, "So, how does it feel to have your son leading another formidable faction in the world?" The malevolence in his smile hinted at the twisted pleasure he derived from their discomfort. Yan Niu, caught off guard by the directness of the question, stammered, I haven't given it much thought yet, master." Her attempt to evade the topic only seemed to amuse Wang Jian further. Wang Jian smirked at her response, his hand reaching out to pull her onto his lap. He felt her curvy buttocks grind against his cock, still confined within his pants. His fingers began to explore her large breasts, causing her to moan in pleasure. "Are you sure you want to lie to me, Niu?" Wang Jian asked with a sneer. Yan Niu, now caught in the provocative grasp of Wang Jian, couldn't suppress her moans. The intimate contact left her both physically and emotionally vulnerable, a calculated move by Wang Jian to elicit the truth hidden beneath her apparent nonchalance. As the atmosphere in the chamber thickened, the unspoken tension among the trio manifested in the charged air. As Wang Jian's lustful gaze fell upon the three women, he began to undress them with his eyes. His hand reached for the hem of Yan Niu's dress, pulling it upwards until her ample breasts were exposed. He roughly grasped them, pinching and twisting her nipples to elicit a cry of pleasure from her lips. Wang Ying and Luo Qiu watched in horror as Wang Jian treated Yan Niu like his personal plaything. But soon, their own fates were sealed as well. Wang Jian's hand trailed down Wang Ying's body, teasing her exposed thighs before dipping between them to find her wet entrance. He slid a finger inside her, eliciting another moan from her lips. Meanwhile, Luo Qiu's clothing was torn away, leaving her naked for Wang Jian's pleasure. He took his time exploring her body, tracing his fingers along her collarbone and down her flat stomach before reaching between her legs. He plunged 2 fingers into her tight folds, causing her to gasp. The 3 women were now completely at Wang Jian's mercy. They had long since grown accustomed to his depraved desires, but the pleasure he brought them still left them lost in ecstasy. They responded fervently to his touch, their bodies arching towards his hand as they begged for more. Wang Jian's rough hands played with their bodies, leaving bruises and marks that would fade but never be forgotten. He pinned Yan Niu to the ground, forcing her legs apart as he thrust his hips against her, claiming her as his own. Wang Ying and Luo Qiu watched in awe as Wang Jian took what he wanted from Yan Niu, their own desires growing more intense with each passing moment. Finally, it was their turn. Wang Jian positioned Wang Ying on all fours, her exposed rear facing him. With a smirk, he plunged his cock deep into her wetness, filling her completely. Luo Qiu watched in horror and arousal as Wang Jian took her daughter like an animal, her moans echoing throughout the chamber. As Wang Jian continued to have his way with the three women, his lustful gaze fell upon Luo Qiu. Her body was perfect for his desires, with her sexy ass and large breasts begging to be explored. He positioned her on all fours, her face buried in the pillows to muffle her cries of pleasure. Wang Jian's rough hands gripped her hips tightly as he thrust his hips against her from behind. He slapped her plump-ass cheeks, leaving red handprints that only added to her arousal. His cock plunged deep inside her wetness, filling her completely. Luo Qiu felt his every thrust, her body arching towards his hand as she begged for more. Wang Jian took his time with her, savoring the feel of her tight flesh wrapped around his cock. As he continued to pound into her, Wang Jian reached around and cupped her large breasts in his hands. He squeezed them roughly, pinching and twisting her nipples until she cried out in pleasure. The combined sensations of his cock thrusting inside her and his rough hands playing with her body sent Luo Qiu spiraling into a world of erotic bliss. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Wang Jian released his seed inside her, filling her with his warmth. As he pulled out of her, he slapped her ass one last time before switching his target to Yan Niu. The three women were now entranced by the pleasure that Wang Jian had brought them. Despite their pain and humiliation, they couldn't help but crave more of his depraved touch. And Wang Jian knew it, he had them completely under his control. Having dealt with potential internal threats within his empire, Wang Jian redirected his attention to the looming figure of his older brother, Wang Hao. Well, that god of war spirit is unmistakably from the same upper realm as Yu Qing, the Scarlet Star Slaughter goddess, Wang Jian mused, his mind sharp. In some ways, Wang Hao poses a more significant threat than Jiang Qin. Wang Jian's suspicions were spot on. Following the triumph over the sea monsters, Wang Hao's influence had solidified among the Eastern Sea's human populace. He had become the de facto leader, the ruler they looked up to. Wang Hao's gaze, however, extended beyond the Eastern Seas. He harbored aspirations to conquer the southern region, currently under the control of his younger brother, Wang Jian. Yet, Wang Hao approached this delicate situation with caution. He recognized the insurmountable odds stacked against his faction, given Wang Jian's backing from major forces like the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, the Elven race, and even half of the Devil race's formidable experts. In the intricate dance of power and ambition, the two brothers stood on opposing sides, each treading carefully in the shadows of their shared history. In the ever-shifting chessboard of power, Wang Jian took strategic measures to fortify his position, anticipating the inevitable clash with his formidable brother, Wang Hao. Ensuring the safety of his cherished ones took precedence. With deliberate care, Wang Jian orchestrated the relocation of his wives, concubines, maids, and secret mistresses. The Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion in the central region and the World Tree Elven Dominion in the northern states became sanctuaries, shielding his loved ones from the brewing storm. In the midst of these preparations, Wang Jian engaged in a conversation with Fan Shuaying, his second wife and a key figure in managing his vast network of informants across the Sky Martial continent. Shuaying, my dear, keep me informed about every move in the Eastern Seas. Wang Hao won't sit idle for long, and I want to be ready, Wang Jian instructed, his eyes revealing the depth of his strategic contemplation. Fan Shuaying responded with a reassuring nod. Don't worry, my love. I'll ensure that we have the most accurate information. Wang Hao won't catch us off guard. With the eastern seas secured, Wang Jian turned his attention to the western deserts, where Jiang Chen's faction operated. Through his extensive intelligence network, managed adeptly by Fan Shuaying, he gathered insights into Jiang Chen's activities. Surprisingly, Jiang Chen's faction continued their relentless pursuit of conquering minor worlds within the western deserts. There were no signs of diverting attention or showing concern regarding Wang Hao's ascendancy in the eastern seas. Perplexed by this, Wang Jian pondered the possible reasons behind Jiang Chen's focused efforts. Shuaying, it's odd. Why isn't Jiang Chen worried about Wang Hao? Any insights? Fan Shuaying, ever composed and attentive, responded, "My dear, it's possible that Jiang Chen has unraveled the complex history between you and Wang Hao. He might be aware that, for now, Wang Hao's primary animosity is directed solely at you. Hence, Jiang Chen's faction feels secure in their current pursuits." Wang Jian, contemplating this information, nodded thoughtfully. "Very well. Keep a close eye on both fronts. We need to be prepared for any developments. Wang Hao is a wild card, and I won't underestimate his determination." In the ebb and flow of the ever-evolving world, a seismic event sent ripples of shock through the realms, focusing attention squarely on Wang Hao. The revelation that stirred the currents was the forging of an alliance between Wang Hao's faction and the esteemed Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, a pact sealed by none other than marriage. The three prestigious sects of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, Luminous Sun Sect, Celestial Moon Sect, and Eclipse Star Sect, made an unprecedented decision. Each sect chose its most exceptional and beautiful female disciple, groomed under the watchful eyes of sect masters and grand elders, to be united in matrimony with Wang Hao. The reasons were manifold: the extraordinary talent of Wang Hao, his formidable strength, his status as the Eastern Sea's human leader, and the awe-inspiring presence of the god of war spirit within him. Read latest OVLS at nv/e/l/buy.com. These carefully selected female disciples, chosen from the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, were not merely chosen for their beauty but for their exceptional cultivation potential and profound background. Luminous Sun Sect's disciple, Li Meiying, a luminescent beauty, Li Meiying had risen from humble beginnings, overcoming adversities through unwavering determination. Her affinity for the sun element manifested in her radiant cultivation, making her a prized disciple of the Luminous Sun Sect. Celestial Moon Sect's disciple, Yu Xianhua, grace personified, Yu Xianhua's journey was akin to a celestial dance. With a lineage traced back to ancient celestial beings, her cultivation of moonlight arts set her apart. She had become the pride of the Celestial Moon Sect. Eclipse Star Sect's disciple, Ming Chenxi, mysterious and enigmatic, Ming Chenxi's past held secrets that echoed in the celestial realm. Her control over the elements of the stars marked her as an extraordinary talent, earning her a coveted place in the Eclipse Star Sect. Wang Hao, recognizing the significance of this alliance, graciously accepted the proposal. The news of the impending marriage echoed through the eastern seas, creating an air of anticipation and celebration. Under the vast expanse of the eastern seas, where the gentle lapping of waves provided a natural symphony, Wang Hao's grand marriage ceremony unfolded with an opulence befitting the union of realms. The chosen venue, a celestial isle surrounded by azure waters, resonated with the harmonious energies of the profound. As emissaries from various factions and sects, their robes adorned with symbols of their respective realms, began to converge, the air became charged with excitement. The isle, a canvas for celestial splendor, featured ethereal decorations that captured the essence of unity. Luminescent flowers cascaded like celestial blessings, and colorful banners fluttered in the sea breeze. Wang Hao, resplendent in ceremonial attire, stood at the heart of the isle, radiating a charismatic aura. The brides, Li Meiying, Yu Xianhua, and Ming Chenxi, dressed in breathtaking gowns that mirrored the elements they hailed from, awaited the union with a blend of anticipation and grace. As the esteemed guests, including representatives from countless small nations, sects of the eastern seas, central region, and even the western deserts, took their seats, the ceremony commenced. Celestial musicians played melodies that stirred the hearts of onlookers, and skilled cultivators showcased mesmerizing displays of elemental prowess. As Wang Hao prepared to articulate the sacred vows that would bind him to his chosen companions, the air buzzed with anticipation. The assembly held its collective breath, immersed in the solemnity of the moment. However, just as the crescendo of vows was about to resonate, an unforeseen disruption shattered the serenity. The barrier guarding the minor worlds within the eastern seas ruptured, unleashing a chaotic torrent of beings from realms unknown. The barrier guarding the minor worlds within the eastern seas abruptly fractured, unleashing a tumultuous wave of chaos. From the rift emerged races hitherto unknown to the inhabitants of the Sky Martial continent. These mysterious races, bearing names such as the Ether Weavers, Void Sirens, Arcane Phantoms, and Celestial Spectres, surged forth into the eastern seas. Their otherworldly presence disrupted the serenity of Wang Hao's nuptial celebration, plunging the region into a chaotic battleground. The Ether Weavers, ethereal beings with the ability to manipulate cosmic energies, clashed with the human forces near the wedding venue. Their shimmering forms weaved through the air, casting spells that defied conventional understanding. The Void Sirens, masters of interdimensional travel, infiltrated strategic points with swift and calculated movements. Amidst the chaos, the Arcane Phantoms, wielders of arcane arts, clashed with the human cultivators in a display of dazzling but deadly magic. The Celestial Spectres, ethereal entities with control over celestial forces, hovered above the battleground, unleashing celestial wrath upon unsuspecting targets. The wedding venue, once a haven of celebration, became a contested ground where human cultivators confronted these enigmatic races. Wang Hao, torn between his marital vows and the duty to protect his people, drew upon the god of war's spirit within him. The clash between the human race members and the otherworldly invaders echoed across the eastern seas. The battleground sprawled, encompassing various locations, turning the once serene wedding grounds into a theater of conflict. In the midst of the chaos, Li Meiying, Yu Xianhua, and Ming Chenxi exhibited their prowess, standing alongside Wang Hao to repel the invaders. Each of the three Radiant Oasis disciples unleashed their unique talents: Li Meiying's Radiant Sun Arts, Yu Xinhua's Celestial Moonlight Techniques, and Ming Chenxi's Starry Arcane Mastery. As the battle unfolded, the skies echoed with the clash of energies, and the seas bore witness to the dance of martial techniques. The unity forged in the marriage ceremony now extended to a unity of purpose, to defend the eastern seas against this unforeseen onslaught. Wang Hao stepped forward amidst the turmoil, wielding his formidable battle axe, a manifestation of the god of war's might. The very air around him seemed to ripple with suppressed energy as he prepared to unleash his combat prowess upon the otherworldly invaders. With a resounding battle cry, Wang Hao swung his axe in a sweeping arc, cleaving through the ranks of the Ether Weavers. His axe, a conduit of the god of war's spirit, emitted a radiant glow as it met the ethereal forms of the invaders. The celestial energies clashed in a spectacular display, with Wang Hao's powerful strikes carving through the mysterious foes. Read the latest stories on novelbin.com. The Void Sirens, masters of interdimensional travel, attempted to confound the human forces with their elusive movements. Undeterred, Wang Hao focused his senses and anticipated their every shift. With a swift and calculated strike, he intercepted their attempts at infiltration, disrupting their interdimensional maneuvers with a powerful swing of his axe. The Arcane Phantoms, wielders of arcane arts, conjured dazzling spells to assail the human cultivators. Wang Hao, however, stood undaunted. With practiced precision, he deflected the arcane onslaught, using his axe to create a protective barrier that nullified the ethereal attacks. Each swing of his weapon became a counter to the intricate magic unfurled by the enigmatic foes. Meanwhile, the Celestial Spectres, hovering above the battleground, unleashed celestial wrath upon the combatants. Wang Hao, attuned to the divine forces within him, rose to meet the challenge. He channeled the power of the god of war's spirit, creating a celestial shield that absorbed and dissipated the celestial onslaught. The skies crackled with energy as Wang Hao stood defiant against the celestial forces arrayed against him. Throughout the chaotic clash, Wang Hao's axe techniques resonated with the legacy of the god of war. The marriage ceremony grounds, once a serene backdrop for vows, now bore witness to a spectacle of martial prowess. Wang Hao's combat style, a harmonious blend of strength and finesse, left an indelible mark on the unfolding battle. With each swing, Wang Hao demonstrated his mastery over the god of war's spirit, orchestrating a symphony of devastation against the otherworldly invaders. His axe, an extension of his resolve, became an instrument of both protection and retribution. The invaders, caught in the vortex of Wang Hao's onslaught, found themselves facing an adversary whose strength transcended mortal boundaries. The clash of energies, the shimmering of celestial forces, and the resounding impact of Wang Hao's axe echoed across the eastern seas. As the tumultuous week unfolded in the eastern seas, the clash between Wang Hao's forces and the mysterious invaders from the minor worlds raged on unabated. The once celebratory marriage ceremony grounds became a theater of unrelenting warfare, each clash of weapons and surge of energy further emphasizing the stakes of this unexpected battle. Wang Hao, wielding his axe with unrivaled prowess, led the charge against the enigmatic races that had emerged from the collapsed barriers. His every swing resonated with the determination to protect not only his newlywed brides but also the entirety of the eastern seas. The prolonged conflict showcased the indomitable spirit of the human forces, their resilience against the otherworldly adversaries unwavering. The various races, ether weavers, void sirens, arcane phantoms, and celestial specters, continued to pose formidable challenges. Wang Hao's combat finesse and strategic brilliance became the linchpin holding the human forces together. His leadership, coupled with the collective determination of the Eastern Sea's inhabitants, forged an unyielding resistance against the invaders. The news of this unprecedented chaos reached the Heavenly Court and Jiang Chen's faction, causing shock and concern among their ranks. The sudden collapse of the barriers separating the minor worlds from the Eastern Seas was a development neither faction had anticipated. It didn't take long for them to connect the dots and suspect the involvement of the World Tree of the Elven race, a suspicion pointing directly at Wang Jian and his faction. Intrigued by the unfolding events, the factions contemplated their next moves. The Heavenly Court, known for its swift and decisive actions, deliberated on whether to intervene or observe from a distance. Meanwhile, Jiang Chen's faction weighed the implications of the chaos in the Eastern Seas on their own plans. As the dust settled in the Eastern Seas, Wang Hao and his forces swiftly regrouped, determined to solidify their hold on the minor worlds. The unexpected turmoil had only strengthened their resolve to ensure the safety and dominance of the Eastern Seas. With the collapse of the barriers and the defeat of the enigmatic races, they seized the opportunity to conquer the remaining minor worlds, each assimilation bringing complete control over the conquered realms. Simultaneously, the Heavenly Court and Jiang Chen's faction embarked on similar endeavors. The three major factions, each with their unique strategies, raced against time to assimilate with the world hearts, fortifying their positions and expanding their influence across the minor worlds. Amidst this chaotic pursuit, the grand marriage ceremony that had been interrupted in the Eastern Seas faced an unforeseen delay. The celebratory vows and festivities were put on hold as the major factions focused on securing their territories and preventing any surprise attacks like the one that had disrupted Wang Hao's nuptials. In the midst of this tense atmosphere, an unexpected conflict erupted between the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary and the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. The three sects of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, aligned with Wang Hao's faction, found themselves targeted by the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, an integral part of Wang Jian's forces. The Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, under Wang Jian's orders, launched an assault on the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary. The Wind Cloud House, the Spirit Affinity Sect, and the Heavenly Lotus Sect, pillars of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, were tasked with subduing their counterparts in the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary. As the conflict unfolded, the Wind Cloud House, known for its agile and dynamic techniques, clashed with the forces of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary. The Spirit Affinity Sect and the Heavenly Lotus Sect, two all-female sects where males were forbidden, brought their formidable skills to bear against their opponents. Wang Jian's strategic move sought to weaken Wang Hao's alliance and disrupt the cohesion among the factions aligned with him. The clash between the two immortal dominions escalated, each sect showcasing its unique strengths and techniques. The celestial clash between the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary and the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion painted the skies with radiant hues of immortal energies. The defensive stance adopted by the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary compelled them to rely on the Immortal Sanctuary itself, a formidable asset in their arsenal. The Luminous Sun sect, with its mastery over radiant energy and solar techniques, became a beacon of blinding light within the sacred space. The disciples of the Celestial Moon sect, attuned to the mysteries of the lunar realms, wove ethereal illusions and wielded the power of the night against their adversaries. Meanwhile, the Eclipse Star sect, with its unique control over celestial phenomena, unleashed the forces of cosmic destruction. In response, the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion launched a relentless assault on the Earth Veins connection of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary. The Earth Veins, a source of profound energy and stability, served as the lifeblood of the sanctuary. Disrupting this connection became the primary objective of the invaders, seeking to weaken the foundation of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary. The battle unfolded in a symphony of celestial techniques, each sect showcasing their distinctive abilities in a dazzling display of power. The Wind Cloud House, known for its agile and swift movements, engaged in a dynamic dance with the disciples of the Luminous Sun sect. The Spirit Affinity sect, consisting exclusively of female cultivators with a profound bond to spiritual energies, clashed with the celestial illusions conjured by the Celestial Moon sect. Simultaneously, the Heavenly Lotus sect, renowned for its control over celestial forces, sought to disrupt the Eclipse Star sect's cosmic maneuvers. Distinct abilities echoed through the Immortal Sanctuary as disciples unleashed their most potent techniques. The Luminous Sun sect's solar flare radiance, a blinding burst of solar energy, clashed with the Wind Cloud House's gale dance of heaven. The disciples of the Celestial Moon sect conjured the Dreamweaver's eclipse, ensnaring the Spirit Affinity sect in illusions that tested the boundaries of reality. As the battle intensified, the Eclipse Star sect's cosmic annihilation wave collided with the Heavenly Lotus sect's Heavenly Celestial Lotus, unleashing celestial forces that threatened to reshape the very fabric of the Immortal Sanctuary. The struggle for dominance teetered on a delicate balance, with both sides locked in a fierce exchange of techniques and strategies. The disciples of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary fought valiantly to protect their Earth Veins connection, while the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion sought to exploit any vulnerability. Yet, despite the resilience of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, the tide gradually shifted in favor of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. The relentless assault on the Earth Veins connection began to take its toll, eroding the sanctuary's stability. Amidst the chaotic clash between the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary and the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, the battleground witnessed an unexpected turn of events. A thunderous roar echoed through the Immortal Sanctuary as the ground trembled beneath the weight of approaching footsteps. Suddenly, a horde of powerful and ferocious beasts surged forth, led by none other than the formidable Black Dragon. The Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, already engaged in a fierce struggle with the disciples of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, found itself facing an additional, unforeseen threat. The beasts, ranging from massive direwolves to swift panthers and soaring griffins, charged into the fray, teeth bared and claws unsheathed. The disciples of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, caught off guard by this unexpected assault, now had to contend with the relentless onslaught of both the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary and the formidable beast race. The Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion's forces were suddenly entangled in a multi-front battle, each front demanding their full attention. Within the chaos, the Black Dragon, its scales gleaming with an otherworldly luster, unleashed devastating breath attacks that incinerated the enemies in its path. The celestial disciples, focused on the Earth Veins connection, now had to divert their attention to defend against the relentless assault from the beast race. As the disciples of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion struggled to adapt to this unforeseen development, the disciples of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary found a moment of respite. The celestial energies of the Immortal Sanctuary resonated with the innate power of the beast race, creating a temporary alliance that shifted the dynamics of the battlefield. Amidst the chaos, disciples exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of surprise and determination. The battle had taken an unexpected turn, but alliances forged in the heat of conflict could be as fickle as the wind. The beast race, a wild and untamed force, fought alongside the disciples of the radiant oasis Immortal Sanctuary against their common foes. The celestial nexus Immortal Dominion, now facing a dual onslaught, struggled to maintain its composure. The celestial techniques of the Wind Cloud House, Spirit Affinity Sect, and Heavenly Lotus Sect were now met with the primal ferocity of the beast race. The battleground became a cacophony of clashing energies, roars, and the tumultuous symphony of combat. As the black dragon soared through the skies, its presence alone sent shockwaves through the ranks of the celestial nexus Immortal Dominion. Amidst the chaos of clashing energies, a fresh wave of reinforcements surged onto the battlefield. The barbarian race, fierce warriors whose allegiance had been forcibly claimed by Wang Jian's faction, now joined the fray. Their arrival marked a shift in the dynamics of the battle, as the disciples of the celestial nexus Immortal Dominion gained additional strength. The barbarian warriors, known for their unparalleled physical prowess, charged into the battlefield with a primal ferocity. Each barbarian warrior was a force to be reckoned with, wielding massive weapons and displaying combat techniques honed through generations. Their entrance into the conflict introduced a new element of unpredictability, catching the disciples of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary off guard. As the disciples clashed, the black dragon soared overhead, its obsidian scales gleaming in the chaotic light of battle. The beast race, a diverse assembly of ancient creatures, unleashed a menagerie of attacks. Griffins dove from the skies, talons extended, while dire wolves and panthers prowled the ground, teeth bared. Each member of the beast race wielded abilities unique to their species, creating a symphony of primal fury that resonated across the battlefield. Amidst the chaos, the barbarian warriors, known for their brute strength and resilience, clashed with the beast race in a contest of raw power. The air crackled with the collision of energy and fur, a relentless struggle for dominance between two forces of untamed might. The battle unfolded with an ebb and flow, each faction vying for supremacy in the tumultuous dance of conflict. The disciples of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary countered the encroaching barbarian warriors with celestial brilliance, attempting to pierce through their defenses with precision and finesse. However, the barbarians, driven by an indomitable spirit, weathered the onslaught and retaliated with overwhelming force. On another front, the disciples of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, reinforced by the barbarian warriors, faced the relentless assault of the beast race. The disciples showcased an array of techniques, from wind-infused maneuvers to spirit-bound defenses, as they sought to stem the tide of primal onslaught. In the heart of the battlefield, the clash of energies and the roar of ancient beasts created a cacophony that echoed through the realms. As the celestial disciples of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary and the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion clashed, the air crackled with a symphony of unleashed techniques. The three sects of the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary, undeterred by the reinforcements, responded with a flurry of celestial arrays. The luminous sun sect disciples channeled the radiant power of the sun, unleashing blinding rays that scorched the enemies in their path. Meanwhile, the celestial moon sect invoked the ethereal glow of the moon, enhancing their agility and casting an enchanting aura that disoriented their foes. On the other side, the eclipse star sect concealed themselves within shadows, their movements becoming elusive and unpredictable. They employed a unique array formation known as the Starfall Veil, causing spatial distortions that confounded the barbarian warriors attempting to breach their defenses. The three sects of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion responded with martial prowess and elemental manipulation. The Wind Cloud House disciples harnessed the power of storms, creating cyclones that disrupted the celestial arrays of their adversaries. Meanwhile, the Spirit Affinity Sect wielded the mystical essence harmony technique, harmonizing their energies to amplify their attacks. The Heavenly Lotus Sect specialized in flora manipulation, creating enchanting gardens that emitted poisonous mists. As the clash unfolded, the Black Dragon, leading the beast race, unleashed its draconic might. A breath of shadowy flames engulfed enemies, leaving trails of devastation in its wake. Ancient beasts, diverse in form and ability, added chaos to the battlefield. Griffins soared, claws extended, while massive direwolves lunged at foes, fangs bared. The barbarian warriors, now fully engaged, displayed their primal strength. Their leader, Gorak the Unyielding, wielded a colossal warhammer, shattering celestial arrays with each swing. The barbarians embraced their ancestral connection to the earth, causing tremors that disrupted the precise formations of the radiant oasis Immortal Sanctuary. Within this tumultuous ballet of chaos, the disciples from both sides unleashed a barrage of skills and techniques. The Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion warriors, sensing an opportunity, initiated a synchronized assault. The Wind Cloud House disciples conjured a tempest, obscuring the vision of their enemies, while the Spirit Affinity Sect disciples unleashed the Storm Whisper blades, razor-sharp gusts that cut through celestial defenses. The Luminous Sun sect retaliated with the Dawn Flare Burst, a collective explosion of solar energy that dispelled the tempest. Simultaneously, the Celestial Moon sect executed the Lunar Mirage Dance, creating illusions that confounded the beast race and ancient beasts alike. Amidst the chaos, the Eclipse Star sect enacted the Nebula Veil, weaving illusions that distorted reality. The barbarian warriors, known for their straightforward tactics, momentarily found themselves stumbling in confusion. As the battlefield erupted in chaos, Wang Jian lounged on a celestial rock, a wicked grin playing on his lips. His gaze fixated on the intense clash, but his intentions reached far beyond conquest. Up to TED Chapters NNVelben.com. Conquering the Radiant Oasis Immortal Dominion? That's a wild dream, he mused, taking a sip from his goblet. Jiang Chen and the Heavenly Court won't sit back and applaud. Wang Jian had orchestrated this celestial showdown for a dual purpose, a devious glint in his eyes as he reveled in his scheming. Firstly, I'm giving the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary a taste of our might. An alliance with Wang Hao means making an enemy of us. Smart move would be to rethink their choices. His eyes gleamed with satisfaction as celestial energies clashed below. He envisioned the sect leaders contemplating their allegiance amid the tumultuous battlefield. The flicker of a depraved idea danced in Wang Jian's eyes as he contemplated his second, more sinister objective. Those three beauties marrying Wang Hao, he thought with a dark chuckle, I want them for myself. Stealing a night or two with them could be exhilarating. Wang Jian's imagination danced with forbidden pleasures as he envisioned claiming what was meant for his brother who was now his rival. The conflict merely served as a distracting backdrop to his twisted schemes. The forbidden fruit tastes sweetest. In the midst of the battlefield mayhem, Wang Jian, shrouded in shadows, moved with the grace of a phantom. With a mischievous glint in his eyes, he swiftly executed his plan. One by one, he snatched three unsuspecting women from the chaos. And then, in the blink of an eye, Li Meiying found herself snatched away from the tumultuous clash. The sudden whirlwind of events left her stunned. What in the world just happened, she thought, her mind reeling as she felt the inexplicable force whisking her away. Across the battlefield, Yu Xianhua faced a similar fate. One moment, she was in the throes of battle, the next, she was caught in an unseen grasp, vanishing from the conflict. Panic gripped her. Who dares to interfere, she wondered, the mystery of her abrupt abduction leaving her unsettled. Meanwhile, Ming Chenxi, engaged in her own struggles, felt an otherworldly force envelop her. This isn't right, she thought, a mixture of confusion and alarm seizing her senses as she was plucked from the chaos. All three women, abducted in the blink of an eye, found themselves in the clutches of an unseen captor. The battlefield raged on, but their minds grappled with the shock of being swiftly and mysteriously removed from the heart of the conflict. In the blink of an eye, Wang Jian whisked the three women away from the chaotic battlefield to the quiet confines of his chamber within the Heavenly Lotus sect, nestled deep in the heart of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. The journey happened so swiftly that it left the women disoriented, as if they had traversed through a series of shadowy portals, skipping across the fabric of space itself. Li Meiying, Yu Xianhua, and Ming Chenxi found themselves standing in a lavishly adorned chamber. The walls were adorned with intricate tapestries, and the air was imbued with an otherworldly tranquility that sharply contrasted the tumult of the battlefield. Wang Jian stood before them, a devious grin on his face. Where are we? Li Meiying's mind raced as she took in the opulence of the chamber. And who is this man? What does he want with us? Yu Xianhua, her eyes wide with bewilderment, couldn't help but mutter inwardly, this is not the battlefield. Did we escape? Or are we in more danger now? Ming Chenxi, feeling the unsettling energy of the unknown surroundings, thought, how did we get here so fast? And who is this guy? I need to stay alert. The room felt like a gilded cage, trapping them in a space that held more questions than answers. Fear and confusion mingled in their eyes as they cautiously observed Wang Jian, their abductor. Wang Jian, reveling in the disconcerting atmosphere he had orchestrated, spoke with a sly tone, "Welcome, ladies, to my humble abode. I trust the chaos of the battlefield was not to your liking." The women exchanged uneasy glances, their minds still grappling with the sudden shift from battle to opulence. In the silence that followed, Wang Jian's eyes sparkled with a mischievous gleam as he reveled in the suspense he had crafted. Li Meiying, her confusion giving way to a simmering anger, snapped, "Who do you think you are? Kidnapping us like this?" Yu Xianhua, her brows furrowed with indignation, retorted, "We were in the middle of a battle. What gives you the right to just snatch us away?" Ming Chenxi, her eyes narrowing in frustration, declared, "You better have a damn good reason for dragging us here. And it better be fast." Wang Jian chuckled, seemingly unfazed by their defiant reactions. Ladies, there's no need for such hostility. I brought you here for a more intimate conversation, away from the chaos outside." The room crackled with tension as the women glared at Wang Jian, their anger simmering beneath the surface. The mysterious abductor seemed to relish in their discomfort, his grin widening. Wang Jian, leaning against a luxurious silk-draped chair, casually dropped the bombshell, "Well, ladies, I didn't bring you here just for a chat. You see, I've taken a liking to you, and I've decided you'd make exquisite additions to my harem." The room, once filled with tension, now echoed with the seething anger of the three women. Li Meiying's eyes blazed with fury, Yu Xinhua's fists clenched in humiliation, and Ming Chenxi's face turned red with indignation. But before they could unleash their torrent of anger, Wang Jian, with an infuriating nonchalance, continued, Now, hear me out. If you agree to join me willingly, I can assure you a comfortable position as concubines in my harem. Quite a generous offer, I must say." The women erupted. "You arrogant scoundrel! How dare you?" Li Meiying spat out, her voice dripping with disdain. Yu Xinhua's eyes flashed with defiance as she exclaimed, "We would never stoop so low." "You're delusional." Ming Chenxi, her patience snapped, hurled threats, "Release us this instant. Wang Hao will come for you, and you'll regret crossing him." Little did they know, the name Wang Hao held a different weight in Wang Jian's mind. Wang Jian, the current emperor who had seized power from Wang Hao, listened to their threats with a hidden amusement. With a wicked grin, Wang Jian finally revealed his true identity. "Ladies, I think you're misunderstanding something. I am Wang Jian, the ruler of the southern and northern regions, the one who subjugated the barbarian race and allied with the enigmatic elven race. Oh, and by the way, I've also taken control of the three great sects of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Do you think I need to fear Wang Hao?" The room fell silent, and the expressions on the women's faces shifted from anger to sheer dread. The realization of Wang Jian's true identity hit them like a tidal wave. They were now face to face with one of the most formidable figures in the entire realm. Yu Xianhua, her voice quivering with a mix of fear and defiance, mustered the courage to ask, "Why are you doing this? What do you gain from all of this madness?" Wang Jian, his smirk widening, leaned in and whispered, "Well, my dear, I have a penchant for collecting beauties in my harem. Especially the ones who belong to my enemies. And guess what? You three are about to marry my eldest brother, Wang Hao. That makes you prime candidates." His words hung in the air, a disturbing admission of his twisted motives. "Consider yourselves lucky," he continued with a depraved glint in his eyes. "If you were ugly, I would have simply killed you. But, you see, I have a taste for beauty, and you three fit the bill quite nicely." As he spoke, Wang Jian's gaze traveled over them with a lecherous intensity, leaving the women feeling a cold shiver of disgust running down their spines. The room seemed to close in on them, and the realization of their helpless situation sank deeper. Li Meiying, her defiance undeterred by Wang Jian's disturbing revelation, scoffed, "You must be out of your mind if you think we'd willingly be a part of your twisted collection." Yu Xianhua, with a spark of determination in her eyes, retorted, "Wang Hao won't let you get away with this. He'll come for us, and you'll pay for every moment of fear you've put us through." Ming Chenxi, her voice steady despite the circumstances, declared, "You underestimate Wang Hao if you think we'll be at your mercy. We trust him to bring us justice." Wang Jian, unfazed by their defiance, chuckled, "Oh, how charming. It's cute that you still believe in your fiancé. But let me tell you, Wang Hao won't be able to save you. You're in my realm now, and I hold all the cards." The women, although facing a seemingly insurmountable situation, exchanged determined glances. Their belief in Wang Hao and the hope of his impending rescue kept their spirits unbroken, even in the face of Wang Jian's unsettling intentions. Wang Jian, amused by their defiance, chuckled as if he found their resistance entertaining. Well, it's been quite some time since a woman dared to defy me," he mused aloud, relishing the challenge they presented. "Last time someone had such spirit was the elf queen Alindra," he thought, a twisted smile playing on his lips. That one made things interesting for a while. With a sinister glint in his eyes, Wang Jian proposed a twisted game. "Let's play a little game, shall we?" he suggested, his voice dripping with malice. Explore Ta-Ti stories at no/l/bin.cm. The women, their options limited, reluctantly agreed, their expressions a mix of fear and defiance. "The rules are simple," Wang Jian explained, a wicked grin on his face. "I'll publicly announce that I've abducted you three. Now, it's up to your dear Wang Hao and his faction to decide what to do about it. Will they come to save you, or will they abandon you? It's a gamble, and I'm curious to see the outcome." As he spoke, Wang Jian eyed each woman with a disturbing lust, enjoying the discomfort that crept into their expressions. "If they don't show up within a week," he continued with a sinister tone, "well, I won't be able to restrain myself any longer. Your bodies will become a delightful feast to satiate my desires." The air in the chamber grew heavy with the ominous weight of his words. The women, now entangled in this cruel game, could only hope that Wang Hao and his faction would come to their rescue before the impending deadline. With a wicked smile, Wang Jian ushered the three women towards a teleportation formation. As the arcane symbols lit up, they were whisked away, traversing through the mystical energies to a destination unknown. In the blink of an eye, they found themselves in the Verzen Empire in the northern states, a realm far removed from the familiar territories they knew. Wang Jian stationed them in a solitary chamber, the air thick with the anticipation of the cruel game that had just begun. Little did the women know that there was a flaw in the game, a detail Wang Jian conveniently omitted. They couldn't confirm whether he would actually make the public announcement about their abduction, leaving them in a state of uncertainty. The week ahead loomed over them like an ominous shadow. Wang Jian hadn't immediately acted on his dark desires. This was because he wanted to nurture a seed of hope within them, a false sense of security that would make their eventual despair all the more potent. As the days passed in the solitary chamber, the women clung to whatever hope they could muster. Unaware of the dark game unfolding around them, they remained trapped in a web of uncertainty, unknowingly feeding Wang Jian's sinister plan to harvest even more destiny points from their impending despair. As the war between the three great sects of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion and the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary came to an end in the central region, the news of the abduction of three prominent beauties from the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary rippled through the realms. The shocking revelation reached the ears of Wang Hao, who was currently managing his faction's efforts against the otherworldly races pouring out of the minor worlds in the eastern seas. His faction was deeply engaged in countering the invasion, infiltrating minor worlds to conquer the world hearts. This monumental task had absorbed the entirety of Wang Hao's attention, and he anticipated it would take about a month to complete. However, Wang Hao didn't expect the shocking news that awaited him. The sudden abduction of three women, who were supposed to be his future wives, during the war between the Radiant Oasis Immortal Sanctuary and the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion caught him off guard. Abducted? During the war? Wang Hao's voice thundered through the halls of his palace in the eastern seas. His eyes flashed with anger, and his fists clenched as he grappled with the news. How could this happen? They were supposed to be safe, he thought with a mixture of frustration and concern. Who dares to play such games during a critical time like this? Wang Hao, burdened by the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, knew that he couldn't let this incident slide. While Wang Hao didn't harbor any deep feelings for the three women meant to be his future wives, understanding that they were offerings from their respective sects aiming to form alliances, their sudden abduction was a blatant insult to his dignity and pride. It wasn't about personal attachment but rather a matter of challenging his authority. He couldn't let such insolence go unanswered. Anger burned within him, fueled not by affection for the women but by a determination to assert his dominance and maintain the integrity of his faction. If someone thinks they can disrespect me by abducting those women, Wang Hao muttered to himself, his gaze piercing and resolute, they've got another thing coming. I won't let anyone undermine my authority. In the intricate dance of politics and alliances, Wang Hao knew that allowing such actions to pass without consequences would be a grave mistake. It wasn't just about personal vengeance, it was about safeguarding the reputation and influence of his faction in the broader political landscape. And despite his lack of sentimental feelings towards the abducted women, Wang Hao couldn't deny his desire for beauties. Building a harem had its allure, and he wasn't about to let anyone tarnish that vision. In the sleek confines of his palace, Wang Hao summoned his chief strategist, a shrewd mind known as Li Feng, to discuss the recent abduction of the three women. Li Feng entered the room with a measured composure. Li Feng, Wang Hao began, his tone serious, I need to get to the bottom of this. Who could be behind the abduction of those women? Li Feng, a man of strategic acumen, pondered for a moment before responding, well, considering the alliances and conflicts in the eastern seas, the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion seems like the most likely culprit. All three of the abducted women belonged to sects allied with the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, and their barbarian allies could be involved. Wang Hao's eyes narrowed as he considered the information. Wang Jian's faction, then, he questioned. Li Feng nodded. It's a plausible assumption. However, we need to be cautious. Anticipating this move, factions like the Heavenly Court, the Sea Monsters faction, and Jiang Chen's faction might have laid a trap. Pinning the blame on Wang Jian could be part of a larger scheme. Wang Hao's expression darkened. The intricacies of factional politics and potential traps set by rival powers unfolded before him. Full 0W current novels on n/o/v/3l/b in.co/m. Li Feng, with a hint of curiosity, observed Wang Hao and asked, Your Majesty, are you back to full power? Wang Hao, his expression serious and a touch mysterious, replied, more or less. I can handle anyone with a Saint Realm cultivation easily. Dealing with an Immortal Realm expert, though, might be a different story. Li Feng sighed, understanding the implications. Your Majesty, it's crucial that you recover your full strength as quickly as possible. We can't predict when the sea monster race or the other factions might make their move. We need you at your best. Wang Hao nodded in agreement, acknowledging the urgency of the situation. The looming threats and the delicate balance of power in the eastern seas demanded that he be prepared for any eventuality. In an unexpected turn of events, the Heavenly Court launched a sudden attack on the Silver Azura Devil Dominion, one of the most powerful dominions in the world. To ensure its fall, the Heavenly Court unleashed a formidable lineup of top experts, all boasting Saint Realm cultivation. Adding to the surprise, 2 Immortal Realm experts were also dispatched to tip the scales in their favor. As the Heavenly Court's experts approached the Silver Azura Devil Dominion, a massive spirit materialized above it. Cerberus, the 3-headed dog, towered ethereally yet emitted an intimidating aura. Each of its heads glared at the approaching experts, and a chilling declaration echoed across the battlefield. If you don't turn back now, the Silver Azura Devil Dominion will self-destruct, Cerberus announced, its voice resonating with an otherworldly power. The gravity of the threat hung in the air. Everyone, Devil or Heavenly Court expert, understood the catastrophic consequences if the Silver Azura Devil Dominion were to explode. The entire central region, and possibly other immortal dominions, would suffer massive damage, including the Heavenly Court's primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion. Faced with such a high-stakes gamble, the Heavenly Court's Immortal Realm experts chose to retreat. The looming danger of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion's self-destruction prevented the Heavenly Court from taking any unnecessary risks. However, the spirit of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion had its limits. If it persisted in threatening the Heavenly Court to withdraw their Saint Realm experts as well, the Heavenly Court might opt for a costly maneuver, relocating their primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion to another region, ensuring they remained unscathed by the potential destruction of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. The battlefield crackled with energy as the Saint Realm experts of the Heavenly Court clashed with the Devil Saints of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. Devil Saints from various clans rose to the occasion, their powers converging against the formidable warriors of the Heavenly Court. Among the Devil clans, 2 great clans, the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil Clan and the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan, stood out with their superior bloodlines, making their Devil Saints exceptionally strong. Notably, the experts from the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan proved to be even more formidable, showcasing abilities that set them apart from the conventional elemental techniques. As the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan's Devil Saints engaged in battle, their techniques defied the norm. Shadows twisted and danced around them, a manifestation of their unique abilities. The air itself seemed to bow to their command as they manipulated shadows to confuse and strike at their foes. In contrast, the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil Clan unleashed ferocious storm-based attacks. Gales roared, and lightning crackled as their Devil Saints unleashed tempests upon the Heavenly Court's forces. On the side of the Heavenly Court, Saint Realm warriors, carefully selected from among humans with exceptional battle prowess, experience, and talent, stood ready to face the devilish onslaught. The clash began with a ferocity that echoed across the battlefield. Devil Saints from various clans unleashed their signature techniques, while the diverse abilities of the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan added a layer of unpredictability to the skirmish. In the forefront of the Heavenly Court's forces, a warrior named Zhao Yin wielded a unique skill known as Shadow Mirage Dance. With swift movements, he manipulated shadows to confuse his devilish adversaries, striking with precision as he vanished and reappeared at will. Facing Zhao Yun was Ragnar, a Devil Saint from the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil Clan. Ragnar countered with Tempest Fury, summoning violent storms that clashed with Zhao Yun's shadowy dance. Lightning crackled as the clash intensified. Meanwhile, on another flank, Zhu Wei, a Saint Realm expert from the Heavenly Court, engaged in a fierce battle against Mordred, a powerful devil saint of the Heavenly Azura Devil clan. Zhu Wei's Heavenly Blade Dance unleashed razor-sharp gusts, but Mordred countered with Azura's Veil, a technique that manipulated the essence of shadows to deflect and absorb the incoming attacks. As the battle unfolded, a devil saint named Lilith, hailing from the Heavenly Azura Devil clan, confronted the seasoned warrior Lu Feng of the Heavenly Court. Lilith's blood moon embrace tapped into the devilish blood running through her veins, enhancing her strength and regenerative abilities. Lu Feng countered with Celestial Surge, channeling the power of the heavens to create barriers that resisted Lilith's blood-infused assaults. In the midst of the chaos, a devil saint named Belial, renowned for his mastery over devilish shadows, confronted the Heavenly Court's veteran warrior, Sun Lei. Belial's eclipsed abyss cloaked the battlefield in darkness, concealing his movements as he sought to exploit Sun Lei's momentary confusion. Sun Lei retaliated with divine radiance, a radiant burst of energy that dispelled the shadows and illuminated the battlefield. The clashes continued, each confrontation showcasing the unique powers of both sides. The Heavenly Azura Devil clan, with their shadowy and blood-related techniques, countered the Heavenly Court's diverse array of skills. As the battle raged on, the outcome hung in the balance, and the fate of the Central region rested on the relentless clashes between the Saint Realm experts of the Heavenly Court and the formidable devil saints of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. Amidst the clash between the Heavenly Court's experts and the Devil race, a new faction entered the fray, none other than the formidable experts of the Giant race and the skilled warriors of the Dwarven race. Both groups were part of Jiang Chen's faction, and interestingly, even the Devil race belonged to Jiang Chen's alliance. This alliance explained why Jiang Chen dispatched not only the Devil Saints but also the Giant race and Dwarven race experts to support the Devil Saints against the onslaught from the Heavenly Court. As the battles raged on, Jiang Chen found himself pondering the perplexing question of why the Heavenly Court would launch an attack on the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. He scratched his head, contemplating the motives behind this unexpected aggression. After all these years, the Heavenly Court should have grasped the futility of attempting to conquer the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. If anything, gaining control of the Dominion would only endanger the Heavenly Court, given the Cerberus spirit's ability to detonate the Silver Azura Devil Dominion, causing substantial damage to their own foundations. Jiang Chen, with his strategic mind, mulled over the situation. It seemed like a move that defied logic, and he couldn't help but wonder if there was a hidden agenda or a deeper scheme behind the Heavenly Court's decision to attack a dominion that was, in essence, a ticking time bomb for them. On the other side of the battlefield, Wang Jian, with his mastery of the shadow element, approached discreetly. He aimed to observe the unfolding chaos without alerting his enemies to his presence. As Wang Jian extended his senses, the vastness of the battlefield came into focus. Every expert's presence was now within his range, granting him an unparalleled perspective. Amidst the clashes, a peculiar spiritual energy caught his attention, prompting a frown. "That's odd," he mused, "I didn't expect a spiritual presence in the midst of a battlefield." Veiled in shadows, Wang Jian followed the ethereal trail of this presence, eventually leading him toward the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. As Wang Jian approached, he gazed upwards, fixating on the invisible spiritual essence permeating the Dominion. It was faint, almost elusive. What intrigued him further was the realization that it wasn't just one presence but hundreds, if not thousands. Is it the presence of a being or something else entirely? Could it be related to the Cerberus spirit? Wang Jian pondered, his brows furrowing in contemplation. Deciding to take a calculated risk, Wang Jian unleashed a minute lightning attack towards one of the invisible spiritual essences he sensed. As the lightning struck what appeared to be thin air, a mesmerizing phenomenon unfolded before Wang Jian's eyes. A ghost-like entity materialized, momentarily visible before dispersing into the air, as though merging seamlessly with its surroundings. Interesting. There's more to this spiritual essence than meets the eye, Wang Jian thought, his curiosity piqued by the unexpected revelation. Amidst the tumultuous clash between the Heavenly Court's experts and the forces defending the Silver Azura Devil Dominion, Wang Jian's sharp perception picked up on an intriguing detail. The Heavenly Court's experts were deliberately avoiding attacks on a specific part of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. This is odd. Typically, assaulting the boundary fields is a common tactic to weaken the Dominion, Wang Jian thought, his curiosity piqued by the unusual strategic choice of the Heavenly Court's experts. While experts would usually target the boundary fields to force the Dominion spirit to expend energy reinforcing them, the Heavenly Court's forces seemed to have a different focus. Instead, their attacks were concentrated on severing the connection between the Earth Veins and the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. There's more to this than meets the eye. Why the deliberate avoidance of the boundary fields? Wang Jian pondered, his inquisitive nature pushing him to unravel the mystery. Unable to contain his inquisitiveness, Wang Jian decided to approach one of the wounded Heavenly Court experts who lay gravely injured on the battlefield, casualties of the fierce conflict against the Devil race, the Giant race, and the Dwarven experts. Finding a Saint Realm expert of the Heavenly Court in such a condition was not a challenging task. Dozens of them were scattered across the battlefield. Wang Jian seamlessly melded into the shadows, reappearing discreetly near the location where the Devil race's experts unleashed a massive attack against the Heavenly Court experts. The chaotic scene unfolded before him, and Wang Jian swiftly intervened with his remarkable speed and mastery of the shadow element. In an act that appeared almost like a mirage, Wang Jian discreetly saved the Heavenly Court experts from the devastating assault. To the external observer, it seemed as though these experts had succumbed to the overwhelming attack, unaware of the unseen hand that had saved them from the brink of death. Now, let's have a chat with our wounded friend, Wang Jian thought, preparing to extract information that might shed light on the enigma surrounding the Heavenly Court's targeted approach in the conflict. Wang Jian, having saved the injured Heavenly Court's Saint Realm expert from the battlefield, retreated to a secluded spot some distance away. Employing his mastery of the dark tendrils, he bound the expert securely, ensuring there was no escape. Additionally, he sealed the expert's cultivation, leaving him powerless against Wang Jian's interrogation. "Hey, buddy. Would you have a chat with me?" Wang Jian asked, his voice carrying a sinister undertone as he stared into the restrained expert's eyes. "What's the Heavenly Court planning?" Sun Lei, despite being in a vulnerable position, attempted to play dumb, to weaken the Devil race and conquer the Silver Azura Devil Dominion if we are lucky. Wang Jian's response was a sly and impish smile. His eyes gleamed mischievously as he stepped closer. "Well, if you won't spill the beans willingly, I suppose we'll have to do this the hard way." He initiated a ruthless and brutal interrogation. Dark tendrils snaked around Sun Lei, probing and squeezing as Wang Jian delved into the expert's mind, extracting information with ruthless efficiency. The torture unfolded in a gruesome fashion, leaving Sun Lei writhing in agony. Wang Jian showed no mercy, determined to unravel the secrets concealed within the Heavenly Court's plans. After a considerable duration, Sun Lei, unable to endure the relentless assault any longer, finally relented. Gasping for breath, he managed to mutter, "Fine, fine. I'll talk. Just stop this torture." Wang Jian, satisfied with his success, eased the torment, allowing Sun Lei a moment of respite. "Now, spill it. What's the Heavenly Court after?" Wang Jian demanded, his eyes narrowing. "We discovered a way to extract inhabitants from minor worlds," Sun Lei confessed, his voice strained with submission. "The race we extracted is called the Wraith race. They possess ghost-like forms and excel in spiritual abilities. Their talents are unparalleled, they can control or even replace the personalities of the spirits of immortal dominions," he divulged, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Wang Jian was taken aback by this revelation. The existence of such a race, capable of manipulating immortal dominion spirits, was beyond his expectations. So, your target wasn't the connection of the earth veins with the silver Azura devil dominion, but the Cerberus spirit itself, Wang Jian mused aloud, connecting the dots. With the Cerberus spirit controlling the silver Azura devil dominion, seizing control of its personality would mean gaining dominion over the entire dominion. Wang Jian realized the gravity of the situation. He was dealing with a threat that extended beyond a single immortal dominion. If the Heavenly Court succeeds in this plot, they could theoretically control any immortal dominion spirit in the world. This is dangerously ambitious, Wang Jian muttered to himself, contemplating the implications of the information he had just obtained. As Sun Lei spilled the secrets of the Heavenly Court under the duress of Wang Jian's relentless interrogation, there was an unexpected twist that Wang Jian hadn't foreseen. Unbeknownst to him, Sun Lei had initiated a signal to the Heavenly Court the moment he spilled the secrets. Unlike conventional contracts that bind individuals to silence, the Heavenly Court opted for a different approach. Once a member had spilled a secret, the symbol would activate, allowing an immortal realm expert from the Heavenly Court to teleport directly to the traitor's location. Discover NW Chapter SNN0EL by .com. In this instance, as Sun Lei sent out the signal, the response was swift. An immortal realm expert materialized at the scene, teleporting to Sun Lei's side with an air of authority. Wang Jian, momentarily taken aback by this unexpected development, quickly shifted his expression from surprise to a more serious demeanor. The arrival of an immortal realm expert signaled a significant escalation in the situation. It was no longer a confrontation with a Saint Realm expert but a clash with an Immortal Realm powerhouse. The Immortal Realm expert, clad in the distinguished Heavenly Court attire, exuded an aura of dominance. Their eyes glowed with an otherworldly radiance, and the air around them seemed to ripple with spiritual energy. Well, what do we have here?" the Immortal Realm expert sneered, sizing up Wang Jian with a condescending gaze. "Attempting to uncover the secrets of the Heavenly Court, are we? Such audacity!" Wang Jian, maintaining his composure, responded with a casual tone, "The Heavenly Court really is amazing. I see now why you attacked the World Tree and weakened it to have it release the minor worlds in the world. You wanted to have access to the minor world with the Wraith Spirit." The Immortal Realm expert chuckled arrogantly. "Curiosity killed the cat, they say. But in your case, it might just lead to your demise." The Immortal Realm expert from the Heavenly Court, known as Xian Tian, regarded Wang Jian with a curious glint in his eyes. "Before we start, why don't you tell me who you are? I am curious who would be audacious enough to pry into the secrets of the Heavenly Court. Your master must belong to either that of the Emperor Wang or that ancient devil Jiang Chen." Diascover dated novels on NOV/E/Lbin.co. Wang Jian, maintaining a smirk, chose not to respond directly. Revealing his true identity to this formidable opponent would be a grave mistake. If Xian Tian were to discover that he was Emperor Wang, the leader of one of the great factions, it would undoubtedly escalate the situation. Faced with the potential danger of exposure, Wang Jian swiftly activated the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil transformation technique. As his silver hair transformed into a mesmerizing shade of blue, and his sapphire blue eyes turned a captivating ruby red, the aura of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil enveloped him. Xian Tian, witnessing the transformation, raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing on his lips. "Ah, a member of the illustrious Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan, I see. You're not just anyone. You must be someone of significance to employ such a technique." Wang Jian, now in his transformed state, remained silent, allowing the implication to linger. The Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan was indeed a force to be reckoned with, and its history was intertwined with that of the Heavenly Court. However, despite recognizing his opponent's lineage, Xian Tian exuded confidence. As a seasoned veteran of battles against the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan, Xian Tian wasn't easily swayed by their tricks. In fact, he relished the opportunity to face a member of this formidable devil clan. The power dynamics were clear. Xian Tian, an immortal realm expert, held a considerable advantage over Wang Jian, who currently operated at the Saint Realm. The odds, at least on the surface, seemed heavily skewed in favor of the Heavenly Court. Blue Moon Storm Devil Domain. Wang Jian didn't hesitate in unleashing this domain. He knew this wasn't the time to be holding back. It was a life-or-death situation, and he had no intentions of being on the losing side. The Blue Moon Storm Devil Domain wasn't your run-of-the-mill move. It was a powerhouse, blending the might of not one but two devil bloodlines, the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil and the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil. Now, this supreme domain clashed head-on with Xian Tian, an immortal realm expert, who controlled the laws of vibration. Not only that, but Xian Tian possessed the ability to unleash the Empyrean energy. /N, from now on, the heaven and earth energy is going to be shortened to Empyrean energy. The Empyrean energy could be considered extremely powerful since it was the purest source of power of the world. In a sense, they would be using the power of the world's essence against their enemies. In the midst of the clash, Wang Jian intensified the power of his domain, seeking to fortify it further by incorporating the searing solar flames. Each flicker of solar flame integrated into the storm added a new dimension of intensity to his assault. However, Xian Tian, undeterred by the onslaught, decided it was time to reveal the true extent of his mastery. With a hint of disdain in his smile, he taunted, "Let me show you how a real domain looks like, kid." In response, the air around Xian Tian began to ripple with unseen forces. His domain unfurled like an ancient scroll, revealing layers of power that resonated with the very essence of the immortal realm. As the clash persisted, it became evident that Wang Jian's Blue Moon Storm Devil domain was facing a formidable adversary. Xian Tian's mastery over the laws of vibrations was not to be underestimated. Rather than a mere enhancement of the surrounding area, Xian Tian's domain was evolving into a miniature world, a realm where the laws of vibrations held undisputed dominion. Wang Jian, amidst the chaotic dance of energies, felt the encroaching influence of Xian Tian's domain. It wasn't just a suppression, it was an overwhelming shift in the very reality around them. The laws of vibrations manifested in a way that created a tangible environment, distorting the fabric of space itself. To Wang Jian's eyes, the surroundings morphed into a surreal panorama. Vibrations rippled through the air like ethereal waves, creating a visual symphony of undulating frequencies. The very ground beneath him seemed to pulse with rhythmic resonance, and the colors of the battlefield became fluid, dancing to the unseen vibrations. Xian Tian's domain was not just a defensive measure, it was a manifestation of his complete control over the laws of vibrations. It encapsulated a space where these laws were not only amplified but woven into the very essence of the environment. As Wang Jian struggled against this metamorphosed domain, he could sense his own Blue Moon Storm Devil domain being steadily compressed and dispersed by the overwhelming influence of Xian Tian's creation. In this encapsulated world of vibrations, Wang Jian found himself at a disadvantage. "This feels like when I ventured into the minor world. I guess it's a similar domain, just on a smaller scale," Wang Jian muttered underneath his breath. Wang Jian recognized the dire circumstances. His qi was constrained, and the laws he wielded were rendered ineffective in this unique domain governed by the laws of vibrations. Despite these setbacks, Wang Jian's smirk widened, revealing a glint of strategic anticipation. Xian Tian seized the opportunity to strike. The technique he launched at was known as harmonic resonance implosion. It was an intricate fusion of the laws of vibration and the potent Empyrean energy, a concoction aimed at breaching both the external and internal defenses of Wang Jian. The attack manifested as ethereal waves of vibration, carrying the resonance of a cosmic symphony. Xian Tian's harmonic resonance implosion, a technique that should have sent any opponent into a state of agony, left Wang Jian entirely unfazed. The shock was evident on Xian Tian's face, his calculations falling apart in the face of Wang Jian's apparent immunity. As Xian Tian's bewildered gaze locked onto Wang Jian, the latter maintained an enigmatic calm. His eyes sparkled with the assurance of a trump card, a secret resilience that defied the expectations of both friend and foe. Within the distorted realm of vibrating laws, Xian Tian couldn't comprehend how his meticulously crafted technique failed to elicit the anticipated response from Wang Jian. It was supposed to induce debilitating pain, disrupt control over one's qi, and render the opponent vulnerable. Yet, Wang Jian stood there, untouched and composed. In the midst of Xian Tian's confusion, Wang Jian's thoughts echoed in the silence of his mind. This technique might have been effective if not for my ventures into the minor worlds. Wang Jian, after conquering the minor worlds and assimilating the potent world hearts delivered by his subordinates, had undergone a transformative enhancement. The assimilation of world hearts fortified his qi, elevating it to a level that exceeded the norm. While not a match for the formidable Empyrean energy, Wang Jian's strengthened qi proved resilient against Xian Tian's assault. However, the primary reason for Wang Jian's unyielding stance lay in his cultivation of the 8th stage of the soaring dragon technique. This elevated him to a level where his physical body could be likened to a true dragon's humanoid physique. The impenetrable shield of dragon qi enveloping his body made him virtually impervious to external and internal attacks. As Xian Tian grappled with the unexpected turn of events, Wang Jian, still smirking slyly, seized the opportunity to taunt, "Looks like your little trick doesn't work on me. Maybe it's time to reconsider your strategies, pal." Wang Jian's nonchalant tone underscored his confidence, creating a stark contrast to Xian Tian's perplexity. Xian Tian stood frozen, his eyes widening with disbelief as he stammered incoherently, this. "It can't be. It's impossible. I am an immortal realm expert. I can't lose. Especially not to a saint realm expert." His shock was palpable, and his usually composed demeanor crumbled in the face of the inexplicable resistance displayed by Wang Jian. Amused by Xian Tian's bewilderment, Wang Jian rolled his eyes and muttered with an air of nonchalance, "Please. I'd be embarrassed if I lost to some pseudo-immortal realm expert." "You became an immortal realm expert after infusing the world heart with your dantian, right? That's the only explanation for why you feel so weak. Now, let's see if your physique is as robust as your energy and the power of laws." Wang Jian's mockery further fueled Xian Tian's frustration. With a burst of dragon qi that seamlessly blended with devil qi, Wang Jian propelled himself toward Xian Tian with astounding speed. The air crackled with anticipation as Xian Tian, recovering from his initial shock, unleashed a barrage of attacks infused with Empyrean energy and the laws of vibration. Each strike carried the resonance of the laws of vibration, empowered by the formidable Empyrean energy. Each technique was a masterpiece, seamlessly blending the ethereal waves of vibration with the relentless force of cosmic energy. The first was sonic rupture, aimed to disrupt the auditory senses of its target, leaving them temporarily deafened. The second, vibrant surge, manifested as undulating waves of vibration that sought to disrupt the coordination of Wang Jian's movements. The third, imperial tearing resonance, merged Empyrean energy with the laws of vibration, creating a formidable force that would tear apart the skin of his opponents. Undeterred, Wang Jian met each onslaught head-on, his strengthened physique and fortified qi absorbing the impact effortlessly. He navigated through the ethereal waves of sonic rupture with a flicker of his figure, showcasing an unparalleled mastery over his own physique. As Xian Tian intensified his assault, Wang Jian remained unyielding. The battlefield became a symphony of clashes and reverberations, with the undulating forces of vibrant surge seemingly dancing around Wang Jian, failing to disrupt his steady advance. Imperial resonance, a culmination of Empyrean energy and vibrating laws, collided with Wang Jian's dragon qi-infused defenses, creating a spectacular display of opposing energies. Not content with relying solely on his formidable skills, Xian Tian reached into the folds of his robe and produced a rare treasure artifact, the celestial echo bell. This intricately crafted bell emitted a resonant hum as Xian Tian activated its unique ability, echoing cataclysm. The bell unleashed a pulse of energy that directly targeted Wang Jian's mind and spirit. Undeterred, Wang Jian, with a wry smile, continued his relentless charge. He absorbed the impact of the celestial echo bell's disruption, his physical and spiritual resilience proving unshakable. As Xian Tian, increasingly agitated, launched another treasure artifact known as Ethereal Shroud. Wang Jian faced the challenge head-on. Ethereal Shroud enveloped Wang Jian in a temporary illusion. Unfortunately for Xian Tian, because of the Butterfly Spirit Queen's mark, Wang Jian was completely immune to illusions. Thus, this attack failed. As the intense battle unfolded, Xian Tian's realization dawned: Wang Jian was no ordinary Saint Realm expert. The typical narrative, where a Saint Realm cultivator would inevitably succumb to an Immortal Realm opponent, was unraveling before his eyes. Wang Jian, with his Dragon Qi-infused physique and formidable strength, defied the conventional expectations. Despite the vibrational domain's relentless attempts to reduce Wang Jian's speed, he relentlessly pushed forward, closing the distance between himself and Xian Tian. Gritting his teeth upon witnessing Wang Jian's relentless pursuit, Xian Tian acknowledged the urgency of the situation. Clenching his fists, Xian Tian weighed his options. He had no other choice. Swiftly dispersing the vibrational domain, Xian Tian hoped to escape Wang Jian's pursuit. However, the Saint Realm cultivator displayed a burst of superhuman speed, leveraging the lightning laws to enhance his already formidable agility. To Xian Tian's surprise, Wang Jian seemed to anticipate the dispersal of the vibrational domain. As the domain dissipated, Wang Jian utilized the power of lightning laws, reaching a speed that bordered on supernatural. Closing in on Xian Tian, it became evident that Wang Jian had carefully planned this moment. However, Xian Tian, demonstrating quick thinking, activated a powerful talisman as a last resort. The talisman's energies enveloped him, creating a fleeting window of opportunity. In an instant, the teleportation technique was executed, taking Xian Tian away from the battlefield and having him reappear in the safety of the heavenly court. The battlefield now stood silent, the echoes of the intense confrontation lingering. Wang Jian, though deprived of a complete victory, wore a satisfied smirk. He had proven that the boundaries of cultivation were not as rigid as believed, defying expectations and showcasing the strength of his unique path. As Xian Tian reappeared within the protective confines of the heavenly court, he took a moment to catch his breath. The encounter had shattered preconceived notions, leaving him to contemplate the implications of facing a Saint Realm cultivator of such caliber. The abrupt disappearance left Wang Jian momentarily suspended in the momentum of his pursuit, his outstretched hand grasping at empty air. The battlefield fell silent as the clash between the Saint and Immortal Realm experts came to an unexpected halt. Wang Jian, with a faint smirk, muttered to himself, "Well, that was rather anticlimactic." Meanwhile, in the heavenly court, Xian Tian's arrival drew the attention of his fellow Immortal Realm experts. Disoriented and panting, he recounted the unexpected clash with the enigmatic Saint Realm cultivator. An Immortal Realm expert escaping from a Saint Realm cultivator? Unbelievable, murmured one of his peers. Xian Tian, still processing the encounter, responded with a mix of frustration and curiosity. This one is not an ordinary Saint Realm cultivator. There's something different about him. As the heavenly court buzzed with discussions and speculations, one thing became clear: the narrative of cultivation had been challenged, and the enigma of Wang Jian lingered, casting a shadow over the conventional understanding of power and realms. Days passed, and Xian Tian found himself deep in discussions with his fellow Immortal Realm experts. As they exchanged insights and analyzed the peculiar encounter with the formidable Saint Realm cultivator, a realization began to crystallize. One of Xian Tian's comrades, an astute observer, voiced his thoughts. "You know, that Saint Realm cultivator, we believe he might be none other than Emperor Wang, the ruler of the southern region and leader of one of the great factions." The revelation struck Xian Tian like a bolt of lightning, regret welling up within him. He rubbed his temples, processing the implications. Emperor Wang? Are you certain? Another Immortal Realm expert chimed in, absolutely. Reports have surfaced, linking the distinct techniques and characteristics displayed by that Saint Realm cultivator to Emperor Wang's known abilities. Xian Tian couldn't shake the realization that he had missed a significant opportunity. If he had recognized Emperor Wang during their clash, he could have employed forbidden techniques or utilized powerful artifacts to ensure the capture of such a prominent figure. The Heavenly Court would undoubtedly have rewarded him handsomely for apprehending the leader of a major faction. Frustration crept into Xian Tian's voice as he muttered, "If I had known, I would have taken a different approach." Opportunities like that don't come often. His comrades sympathized, "It happens to the best of us. You couldn't have known it was him in that situation." Besides, he had used his devil bloodline intelligently to fool you. As discussions continued, the weight of the missed opportunity lingered over Xian Tian. The chance to capture Emperor Wang, a figure of immense influence, had slipped through his fingers, leaving a bitter taste of regret. There was no way to undo the mistake, and Xian Tian grappled with the consequences of underestimating the true identity of his formidable opponent. Having dealt with the aftermath of his encounter with Xian Tian, Wang Jian turned his attention to the lingering issue at hand. The first thing that Wang Jian did was kill Sun Lei. It was due to this guy that Xian Tian had come to this spot and Wang Jian was forced to fight against him. Utilizing his shadow attribute, he moved swiftly, concealing himself in the shadows as he observed the ongoing battle between the Heavenly Court's experts and the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. Aware of the Heavenly Court's nefarious schemes, Wang Jian was determined to thwart their plans. His attention focused on the looming threat posed by the Wraith race, manipulating the mind of the powerful Cerberus spirit. Wang Jian navigated the shadows to reach the location where the Wraith race exerted their influence. As he arrived, he unleashed a series of attacks, each strike resonating with destructive force. The impact seemed to strike thin air, but the aftermath revealed the ethereal spirits of the Wraith race. Thousands of these ghost-like entities materialized, exposing the hidden machinations at play. Devils within the Silver Azura Devil Dominion sensed the disturbance, their instincts warning them of the Heavenly Court's malevolent scheme. Murmurs and uneasy glances spread among the devils as they grappled with the realization that they had become unwitting pawns in a greater plot. On the other side, the experts of the Heavenly Court, engaged in combat against the Devil race, the Dwarven race, and the Giant race, were taken aback. Ugly expressions etched across their faces as the revelation of the Wraith race's involvement unveiled the true complexity of the situation. One Heavenly Court expert muttered, "Damn it! How could the Wraith race be exposed like this?" Another, more agitated, responded, "This changes everything. We need to re-evaluate our strategy." Meanwhile, Wang Jian, still concealed in the shadows, observed the chaos he had unleashed. As the revelation of the Wraith race's involvement sent shockwaves through the battlefield, the experts of the Heavenly Court quickly recalibrated their strategy. Sensing the shifting tide, they began a strategic withdrawal, attempting to regroup and reassess the situation. On the opposing side, the Devil race, Dwarven race, and Giant race seized the opportunity. The members of the Wraith race, exposed and vulnerable, became prime targets. The battlefield erupted into chaos as the Devil Saints, Dwarven warriors, and Giant warriors engaged in fierce combat. A Devil Saint named Zephyr Fiend launched a devastating technique called Infernal Tempest, creating a swirling vortex of hellfire that engulfed a group of Wraith spirits. Their ghostly forms writhed in agony as the intense flames consumed them. Simultaneously, a Dwarven warrior named Boulderforge Thunderclap employed his signature move, Stoneheart Cleave. With his mighty axe, he cleaved through the ethereal bodies of the Wraith spirits, dispersing them with each swing. Amidst the chaos, a giant warrior named Thunderous Titan unleashed a powerful shockwave called Earthquake Fury, shaking the very ground beneath the Wraith Spirits' incorporeal feet and disrupting their spectral forms. The Wraith Spirits, realizing the dire predicament they were in, attempted to retaliate. Some of them wielded an ability known as Veil of Shadows, attempting to cloak themselves in darkness and escape detection. However, the swift Devil Saints easily saw through this feeble attempt. Others relied on an ability called Ephemeral Distortion, a fleeting distortion of reality designed to disorient their adversaries. Yet, faced with the relentless onslaught of attacks from the Devil Race, Dwarven Race, and Giant Race, these attempts proved ineffective. The majority of the Wraith Spirits found themselves unable to withstand the onslaught and faced imminent destruction. Desperation set in, and their attempts to escape became increasingly futile. At this critical juncture, the Heavenly Court's experts intervened. Utilizing powerful artifacts, they created barriers and distractions to aid the fleeing Wraith Spirits. One expert with the title Heavenly Gale summoned the Sacred Veil, a defensive artifact that shielded the retreating spirits from the onslaught. Another expert, Radiant Sunbeam Sage, channeled the Luminous Resonance Beam, a dazzling beam of light that momentarily blinded the pursuers, allowing the remaining Wraith Spirits a chance to slip away. However, Wang Jian, ever vigilant, moved swiftly amidst the chaos. His shadow attribute allowed him to navigate the battlefield undetected. Using dark tendrils, he ensnared several Wraith Spirits, preventing their escape. In the aftermath of the chaotic battlefield, Wang Jian swiftly departed, his shadow attribute enveloping him like a protective shroud. With the dark tendrils of his shadow attribute, he captured hundreds of Wraith Spirits, ensnaring them one by one. In the blink of an eye, he vanished from the scene, leaving the Devil Saints, Dwarven Warriors, and Giant Warriors baffled by his sudden disappearance. Capturing these Wraith Spirits is just the beginning. I can't risk interrogating them here and attracting unwanted attention, Wang Jian mused as he whisked away to the World Tree Elven Dominion in the northern region. Within the serene confines of the World Tree Elven Dominion, Wang Jian felt a sense of security. He knew that the elusive location and the protection of the World Tree's influence would shield him from prying eyes. Now, let's get some answers, Wang Jian thought as he prepared to interrogate the captured Wraith Spirits. His eyes glinted with determination, and the air around him crackled with anticipation. The interrogation commenced, and Wang Jian wasted no time in employing ruthless methods. His solar flames danced menacingly, casting an eerie glow as they flickered with intense heat. "Tell me everything you know," Wang Jian demanded, his voice cold and unwavering. The Wraith Spirits, restrained by the dark tendrils, trembled in fear. They could feel the scorching heat emanating from the solar flames, and their incorporeal forms quivered as they braced for the impending torment. "I'll start by asking about the location of the minor world," Wang Jian pressed, the flames intensifying as he spoke. With fearful glances exchanged among the Wraith Spirits, one finally spoke, revealing the elusive location of the minor world. The information, extracted through pain, would prove invaluable to Wang Jian's understanding of the Heavenly Court's plans. "Good. Now, tell me about your abilities," Wang Jian demanded, his eyes narrowing. The Wraith Spirits reluctantly disclosed the extent of their capabilities. They explained their unique ability to manipulate the minds of spiritual beings, including cultivators, given sufficient time. Wang Jian absorbed this information, his mind working swiftly to formulate his next set of questions. "And what exactly is the Heavenly Court planning to do with you?" Wang Jian inquired, his tone unwavering. Fear gripped the Wraith Spirits as they divulged the Heavenly Court's tactic. They revealed that the Heavenly Court intended to utilize their mental manipulation ability to gain control over the Cerberus spirit of the Silver Azura Devil Dominion. Once under their influence, the Cerberus spirit would be ordered to clash against the elemental Nexus Immortal Dominion. If the Heavenly Court had succeeded, they would have tried to dismantle Jiang Chen and his faction in one fell swoop, Wang Jian mused, a shiver running down his spine at the mere thought. The potential consequences of the Heavenly Court's manipulation of the Cerberus spirit and its clash with the elemental nexus Immortal Dominion were daunting. However, delving deeper into his contemplation, Wang Jian realized the resilience of Jiang Chen and his faction. Even if they managed to execute their plan, it wouldn't guarantee Jiang Chen's downfall. His providence is vast, and he's adept at turning adversity into advantage. In the intricate web of factional conflicts, Wang Jian recognized the possibility of Jiang Chen emerging unscathed or, ironically, benefiting from the chaos the Heavenly Court aimed to unleash. Perhaps it's the Heavenly Court that would have suffered the greater blow, Wang Jian thought, a subtle smile playing on his lips. His strategic mind processed the potential outcomes, and he remained calm amidst the complexity of the unfolding situation. Well, Wang Jian knew that the Heavenly Court's intricate tactic was now doomed, thanks to his intervention. Each faction, Wang Jian's, Jiang Chen's, and the Heavenly Court, now had their own wraith spirits, rendering the Heavenly Court's strategy ineffective. The wraith spirits, in turn, would be used to guard against any attempts to manipulate the spirits of their respective immortal dominions. It might be complicated, but we've leveled the playing field, Wang Jian thought, his confidence unwavering. In the following days, Wang Jian received updates indicating that the situation in the eastern seas was stabilizing. The figure of Wang Hao loomed on the horizon, a wild card whose actions could sway the delicate balance of power. Wang Jian considered the various scenarios that might unfold, Wang Hao targeting his faction, the Heavenly Court, or even Jiang Chen's faction. Wang Jian strolled down the corridor with a sly grin, his thoughts resonating with a cruel satisfaction. It's time to attend to other matters, but first, a visit to Li Meiying, Yu Xianhua, and Ming Chenxi is in order. The grace period I granted them is over. He approached their chamber, anticipation building as he prepared to confront the consequences of their failure. As the door swung open, he found the trio in varying states of distress, beautiful faces twisted with despair, hearts shattered by the realization that their fate now rested in the hands of this malevolent figure. Full 0W current novels on n/o/v/3l/b in.co/m. The room felt like a cage, and the women within it trembled at the sight of Wang Jian. Fear and despair radiated from them as they understood the gravity of their situation. Their eyes, once filled with hope and dreams, were now windows to the torment that awaited them. Li Meiying, once proud and confident, now questioned the choices that led to this bleak moment. How did it come to this? What have we done to deserve such a fate? Her inner thoughts echoed the depths of her despair. Yu Xianhua, whose spirit once soared with ambition, now faced the harsh reality of betrayal. Wang Hao, you promised to protect us. How could you abandon us to this monster? Ming Chenxi, who had envisioned a future of camaraderie and love, now grappled with the bitterness of betrayal. Is this the reward for our dedication and loyalty to the sect? As Wang Jian entered, the room seemed to constrict around them. Wang Jian's depraved grin widened as he advanced, relishing the despair that engulfed the room. The door closed behind him, shutting out any last glimmers of hope. Well, it seems our time together is at hand, Wang Jian taunted, his voice dripping with malice. I hope you've enjoyed the last moments of your fleeting freedom. Li Meiying's voice trembled as she spoke. Wang Jian, please, reconsider. We can find another way, another solution that doesn't involve such degradation. Yu Xianhua's eyes pleaded silently. Wang Hao, if you can hear us, please come back. Save us from this nightmare. Ming Chenxi, her usually sharp mind clouded with desperation, stammered, this is a mistake. There must be some misunderstanding. Oh, our sect and Wang Hao won't abandon us like that. Wang Jian merely chuckled at their feeble attempts to reason. Oh, misunderstandings? No, my dears, your fate is sealed, and you have Wang Hao to thank for it. As he circled the room, the women's hearts sank further into despair. The promise of a week's respite had only been a cruel illusion, a fleeting hope that had now evaporated. Your beloved Wang Hao has no intention of rescuing you. You're mine now, Wang Jian declared, his words hanging in the air like a sinister decree. As Wang Jian's grin widened, the room seemed to darken, the air thick with malevolence. Suddenly, tendrils of black energy shot out from his fingertips, coiling around the women like living chains. Li Meiying gasped as the tendrils wrapped around her arms and legs, pinning them to the floor. Ming Chenxi struggled against her bonds, her eyes wide with terror. Yu Xianhua whimpered, tears streaming down her face. You can't do this! Li Meiying shouted, her voice breaking. You're a monster! Wang Jian laughed, the sound cold and cruel. Oh, but I am, my dear. And now, it's time for you to experience the true depths of my depravity. With a swift movement, he tore away their remaining clothes, revealing their naked bodies to his hungry eyes. Li Meiying's smooth skin flushed with embarrassment, Ming Chenxi's petite frame trembled with fear, and Yu Xinhua's delicate curves were bathed in a sheen of sweat. Wang Jian advanced on them, his eyes burning with lust. He grabbed Li Meiying by the hair, forcing her to look into his eyes. You'll be the first, he growled, his lips brushing against her neck. Ming Chenxi screamed as he ripped away her last remaining scrap of clothing, exposing her to his gaze. No, she cried, her voice breaking. Please, don't do this. Yu Xianhua closed her eyes, blocking out the sight of his hands on her friends. She tried to curl up into a ball, praying that he would spare her. Wang Jian's hands roamed over their bodies, his touch as cruel as his gaze. He took his time, savoring the vulnerability of their nakedness. And then, with a forceful push, he entered Li Meiying, her first time being taken by his cock. The woman cried out in pain and shame, but Wang Jian only grinned. He was taking her innocence, and there was nothing that would stop him today. Li Meiying screamed in agony as Wang Jian's cock pierced her virginity, her body resisting his brutal onslaught. But Wang Jian was relentless, his hands gripping her hips tightly, pushing her down onto his cock. With each thrust, he ground his hips against hers, his teeth gritted in a twisted mix of pleasure and cruelty. Li Meiying's eyes rolled back in her head, her body trembling with the force of his assault. Tears streamed down her face as she felt her innocence being taken from her, her body being used for his depraved desires. Wang Jian's hands roamed over her body, squeezing her breasts roughly, pinching her nipples until they stood erect. He slapped her ass hard, leaving red marks on her pale skin. Li Meiying whimpered, her body shaking with each strike. And then, without warning, Wang Jian pulled out of her, only to thrust back in with renewed fury. Li Meiying cried out, her body unable to withstand the onslaught. But Wang Jian didn't care. He was determined to take everything from her, to leave her broken and used up. As he continued to pound into her, Li Meiying felt a strange sensation building inside her. It started as a tingle, then grew into a burning ache. She tried to push him away, but he only laughed, his breath hot against her ear. And then, without warning, Li Meiying climaxed. It was unlike anything she had ever experienced before, a wave of intense pleasure that seemed to consume her entire being. Wang Jian grunted, his body tense as he felt her walls clench around him. He kept thrusting, his eyes dark with lust as he watched her face contort in ecstasy. Finally, with a groan, Wang Jian came inside her, his body shuddering with release. He pulled out of her, leaving her slick with his seed. Li Meiying lay there, panting heavily, her body aching from the brutal encounter. She looked up at Wang Jian, her eyes filled with hate and fear. Ming Chenxi's heart pounded in her chest as she watched Wang Jian approach her, his eyes burning with lust. She tried to scramble away, but the tendrils of black energy held her fast. No, she whispered, her voice shaking. Please, don't do this. Wang Jian ignored her pleas, his hands moving to her hips. He forced her legs apart, revealing her trembling pussy to him. His cock, still glistening with Li Meiying's blood, brushed against her wetness. Ming Chenxi gasped as she felt his touch. The sensation was different from Li Meiying's, rougher, more brutal. Wang Jian's fingers dug into her flesh, leaving bruises on her hips and thighs. With a forceful thrust, he entered her, the pain causing her to cry out. But he didn't stop, his hips moving against hers in a steady rhythm. Ming Chenxi's body felt like it was on fire, her breasts and buttocks aching from his rough treatment. Wang Jian's hands roamed over her body, pinching her nipples and squeezing her breasts. Ming Chenxi couldn't help but arch her back, the sensation too intense to ignore. But still, she fought against him, trying to resist the onslaught of pleasure that threatened to overwhelm her. As he moved faster, Ming Chenxi felt herself being drawn deeper into the abyss. Her body trembled, her mind spinning. She couldn't believe how good it felt, how much she was enjoying this. And then, without warning, she climaxed. Her entire body convulsed, every muscle tensed as she experienced an intense wave of pleasure. Wang Jian grunted, his own release following soon after. For a moment, there was silence in the room. Then, Wang Jian withdrew from Ming Chenxi, his cock slippery with their combined fluids. He stood up, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Ming Chenxi lay on the floor, her body trembling. She couldn't believe what had just happened. She had been completely violated and actually felt pleasure in that violation. Next, Wang Jian stared down at Yu Xianhua's curled-up form, his eyes gleaming with lust. She was so small and delicate, her body so soft and pliable. He couldn't wait to use her up, to take her over and over again until she was nothing but a shell of her former self. He grabbed her by the hair, yanking her head back to expose her neck. "Look at me," he growled, his voice rough with desire. Yu Xianhua whimpered, her eyes wide with fear. But she couldn't look away from his gaze, transfixed by the power and dominance emanating from him. Wang Jian pulled her up to her feet, his hands gripping her hips tightly. He lifted her up, forcing her legs to wrap around his waist. Her soft, supple body pressed against his hard chest, her breasts smashed against his chest. He could feel her heart racing, her breath coming in short, quick gasps. He lowered her back down onto the bed, his cock already hard and throbbing against her wetness. Without hesitation, he thrust into her, filling her up with his thick length. Yu Xianhua cried out in pain, her body protesting the invasion. But Wang Jian didn't care. He continued to pound into her, his hips slamming against hers in a brutal rhythm. Yu Xianhua's body shook with each thrust, her eyes rolling back in her head. Wang Jian reached down, grabbing a fistful of her hair and yanking her head back. He pulled her up, forcing her to look at him as he continued to ravage her body. His hand came down hard on her ass, leaving a red handprint. Yu Xianhua let out a muffled scream, her body trembling with fear and pain. But Wang Jian didn't stop. He spanked her again and again, each slap echoing through the room. Yu Xianhua's body began to respond to the pain, her muscles tensing and her breath quickening. Wang Jian could feel her arousal growing, her pussy clenching around his cock. He could feel her hips rising to meet each thrust, her body starting to find pleasure in the pain he was inflicting on her. He reached down, taking one of her breasts in his hand. He squeezed it hard, the flesh yielding to his grip. Yu Xianhua let out a muffled cry as he pinched her nipple, twisting it between his fingers. Her body started to shake, her climax approaching. Wang Jian could feel her pussy clenching around his cock, her muscles contracting in time with his thrusts. He increased his pace, his hips slamming into hers with brutal force. Yu Xianhua's eyes rolled back in her head, her mouth opening in a silent scream. Her body convulsed, her orgasm washing over her in waves of pleasure. Wang Jian let out a roar, his own climax approaching. He pumped his cock into her one last time, his seed spilling into her waiting womb. He pulled out of her, his cock still throbbing with pleasure. Yu Xianhua collapsed onto the bed, her body trembling with aftershocks of her orgasm. Wang Jian stood over her, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. He turned to the other two women, Li Meiying and Ming Chenxi, his cock still hard and ready for more. "Now it's time for more rounds," he growled, his voice dark and menacing. Vist and Velben, .cm for new updates. As the night wore on, Wang Jian continued to take turns with the three women, using them in every way imaginable. He raped them in various positions, including doggy style, missionary, and even standing up against the wall. He took turns fucking them in the ass, making them scream in pain and pleasure. He also enjoyed a blowjob from each one of them, forcing them to swallow his cum as he came inside their mouths. The three women, now completely broken and submissive, obeyed his every command. They moaned and groaned with each thrust, their bodies aching from the constant abuse. Wang Jian reveled in their submission, his sadistic nature coming to the forefront. He spanked their asses, pinched their nipples, and even bit them hard enough to draw blood. But despite the pain, the women found themselves aroused by it all. They couldn't help but crave more of his brutality, more of his domination. The night wore on, and Wang Jian continued his depraved orgy. He fucked them until they were too tired to move, their bodies covered in sweat and cum. But even then, he wasn't finished. He pulled out his cock, still hard and throbbing, and forced them to suck on it one last time. As the sun began to rise, Wang Jian finally collapsed onto the bed, exhausted from his night of debauchery. The three women lay beside him, their bodies bruised and battered, but their minds filled with the memories of their submission to him. They knew that they would never be the same again, that they had been forever changed by his brutal dominance. And as they drifted off to sleep, they could only hope that he would return for more. For they had become addicted to his cruelty, and they craved it like a drug. After his encounter with the trio of unfortunate women, Wang Jian casually strolled out of their chamber, a depraved grin etched on his face. His efforts had not been in vain, yielding him a satisfying haul of 1.5 million destiny points. It was a considerable amount, yet a mere fraction of what he needed to ascend to the coveted immortal realm. As he pondered the heavenly court's potential moves, Wang Jian sensed an impending threat. The heavenly court's immortal realm experts, having entangled themselves in the ongoing battles, would likely devise a plan to strike the World Tree Elven Dominion once more. The only factor currently staying the heavenly court's hand was the looming menace of Jiang Chen and his formidable faction. The heavenly court, aware of this greater threat, hesitated to allocate its full resources against Wang Jian's dominion nestled within the World Tree Elven Sanctuary. Up.dfrm no/v/e/lb in.co/m. However, the real deterrent lay in the immeasurable power emanating from the World Tree itself. Wang Jian understood that, to dismantle his faction within the World Tree Elven Dominion, the Heavenly Court would need to commit its entire might. The World Tree's capabilities were beyond their comprehension, and the Heavenly Court was well aware that engaging in such an endeavor would be a perilous gamble. The Heavenly Court recognized that the World Tree wasn't just a colossal plant, it was a force to be reckoned with, a guardian that could unleash unimaginable power. Its presence served as an unyielding shield, dissuading the Heavenly Court from making any reckless moves. Even with the heavenly vein of the World Tree Elven Dominion broken down into the Fountain of Essence, the World Tree itself remained a deity-like entity, intricately connected to the essence of the world. Dealing with such a being would demand the Heavenly Court's entire manpower and resources. And at that moment, the Heavenly Court couldn't afford to let Jiang Chen take advantage of the situation. Jiang Chen, with his looming menace, wasn't the sole threat to the Heavenly Court's dominance. Another faction, led by Wang Hao and boasting the divine spirit of the war god, posed an additional danger. The war god, being a higher entity akin to Yu Qing, defied calculation or imagination by the heavenly court. The complexity of these threats had compelled the heavenly court to bide its time before launching an assault on Wang Jian's faction. This hesitation wasn't exclusive to the heavenly court, other factions mirrored the same cautious approach. The delicate balance of power, though unconventional, managed to maintain a certain equilibrium. The heavenly court, with its formidable firepower and vast resources, held a dominant position. Jiang Chen's faction, led by the Ancient Devil, boasted unparalleled knowledge and abilities. The Ancient Devil's strength, combined with his vast experience, made him a force to be reckoned with. Wang Hao's faction, armed with the divine spirit of the war god, represented an indomitable and powerful entity. The war god's divine spirit held knowledge and perspectives that transcended imagination. Wang Jian's faction, anchored by the support of the World Tree, possessed the most mysterious entity in the world. The World Tree's influence made it a wild card, unpredictable and potent. This complex power dynamic forced each faction to tread carefully, avoiding full-scale confrontations. However, this intricate power balance faced an unexpected rupture, and surprisingly, none of the existing factions contributed to this shift. The catalyst for this change was the emergence of otherworldly races yet unconquered by any of the current dominant factions. Among these races were ancient beast clans, including the formidable ancient saber-toothed tiger, the colossal mammoth, the mighty mastodon, the indomitable ancient white rhino, and aquatic behemoths such as the menacing megalodon, the majestic blue whale, and the elusive great kuan. In the sky soared ancient flying creatures like the resplendent phoenix, the colossal roc, the enigmatic moon ravens, the majestic star eagles, and the swift earth falcons. Yet, it was the arrival of a particular beast clan that sent shockwaves throughout the world, the prideful draconic clan. Unquestionably, the heavenly court feared this clan the most, and for good reason. The draconic race held unparalleled potential among the beast race, once proud rulers of the world before the uprising of humans. What remained hidden from most humans, known only to the heavenly court's higher-ups, was the pivotal role played by the world's essence and the world tree in overthrowing and imprisoning the draconic clan within a minor world. During that epic-defining battle, the foremost human immortal realm expert, the primordial yin-yang immortal supreme, sacrificed his life while wielding the formidable power of the heavenly vein. This heroic act led to the defeat of the draconic clan and their subsequent confinement to a minor world, sealed not only by the world tree but also by the primordial yin-yang immortal dominion. The unexpected appearance of the draconic clan in the world signaled a breach of both seals from the inside, an achievement deemed impossible even by the foremost talents and experts of the humans over the period of time. The first words echoed through the lips of the Prince of the Dragons, the sole inheritor of the mighty Supreme Dragon, the ancient ruler and the mightiest expert of the draconic race. He had led his kin out of the imprisonment that had confined them for untold centuries, and as they gazed upon the newfound mainland, the prince couldn't conceal the awe in his voice. "So, this is the mainland on which our ancestors used to rule. It certainly has richer and purer energy," he murmured, his eyes reflecting the mix of fascination and determination. The draconic clan, having emerged from the minor world, stood at the precipice of a world they once called their own. The prince, resplendent in his regal demeanor, surveyed the surroundings with an imperious gaze. Around him, the other dragons, each a majestic representative of their kind, marveled at the expansive landscapes and the vibrant energies coursing through the air. The prince continued, addressing his kin, "Our ancestors held dominion over this realm, and we shall reclaim what is rightfully ours. Let the otherworldly races and factions tremble before the might of the draconic clan." His proclamation resonated with the dragons, igniting a spark of fervor in their eyes. The prince raised his head, and with a mighty roar that shook the heavens, he signaled the beginning of a new era for the draconic clan. The dragons soared through the skies, their powerful wings casting majestic shadows over the land. The prince, leading the way, felt a surge of nostalgia mixed with newfound determination. As they traversed the territories, they encountered the remnants of ancient ruins, once grand cities where the draconic race had ruled unchallenged. The prince's eyes narrowed as he observed the decay and the passage of time. In the distance, the dragons spotted various factions and races. The prince's eyes glinted with a mix of curiosity and disdain. He had studied the accounts of his ancestors, and these new powers were inconsequential compared to the might of the draconic clan. A group of cultivators, disciples of some immortal sect, attempted to stand against the approaching dragons. The prince, amused by their futile efforts, addressed them, "Feeble beings, your struggles are in vain. We are the draconic clan, rulers of this realm in times immemorial. Kneel before your true masters." The disciples, overwhelmed by the imposing aura of the dragons, hesitated. One bold cultivator stepped forward, "We won't submit to any tyrants, dragon or not." The prince chuckled, "Bold words. Let me show you the difference in power." With a flick of his massive tail, he unleashed a powerful gust of wind that sent the cultivators sprawling. The dragons, hungry for their first taste of this newfound world, descended upon the group of cultivators with primal ferocity. The air echoed with the terrified screams of the disciples as the dragons swiftly consumed them. It was a gruesome feast for the draconic clan, marking the beginning of their conquest. In response to the emergence of the draconic clan, the Heavenly Court mobilized its forces rapidly. Legions of powerful experts, including Saint Realm cultivators and formidable Immortal Realm experts, were dispatched to confront the draconic invaders. 15 Immortal Realm experts were among them, comprising 2 at the high level, 4 at the mid-level, and the remainder at the low level. These high-level Immortal Realm experts were of an entirely different caliber compared to those Wang Jian had encountered in his recent battles. Even facing one of them would be a daunting challenge for Wang Jian, and the Heavenly Court seemed to be sparing no effort in dealing with this unexpected threat. As the dragons continued their rampage, the Heavenly Court's forces approached. The high-level Immortal Realm experts led the charge, exuding an aura of unparalleled power. The mid-level and low-level Immortal Realm experts followed closely behind, ready to engage the formidable draconic clan. The Prince of the Dragons, sensing the approaching threat, turned his gaze toward the oncoming Heavenly Court forces. His eyes narrowed, assessing the strength of his adversaries. The dragons, having tasted victory, were not ones to back down easily. The clash between the draconic clan and the Heavenly Court forces was imminent. The air crackled with tension as the two formidable powers prepared to collide. The high-level Immortal Realm experts from the Heavenly Court unleashed their profound techniques, creating a formidable display of power. The prince, undeterred, roared defiantly, signaling the dragons to meet the challenge head-on. Massive wings beat against the air as the draconic clan prepared to engage in a battle. The tumultuous battlefield crackled with tension as the prince of the draconic clan faced off against 2 high-level Immortal Realm experts from the Heavenly Court. The prince, exuding regality, glanced at the approaching Heavenly Court forces with a mix of curiosity and disdain. The 2 high-level Immortal Realm experts, recognizing the formidable opponent before them, synchronized their profound techniques in preparation for the battle. The air quivered with energy as the clash began. The prince, unyielding and resplendent, initiated the confrontation with his draconic roar of dominion, a mighty roar that reverberated through the battlefield. Shockwaves disrupted the rhythm of the Heavenly Court's experts, providing the prince an early advantage. The first high-level Immortal Realm expert retaliated with Celestial Boundless Domain, a vast domain aimed at suppressing the prince's movements. However, undeterred, the prince unleashed his ethereal wingstorm, creating a whirlwind of ethereal energy that deflected the celestial force and showcased his unparalleled aerial mastery. The second high-level Immortal Realm expert, witnessing the prince's indomitable wings, conjured the Astral Convergence Seal. The ethereal seal harnessed astral energies to bind the prince, attempting to negate his invincible scales and imprison his draconic force. Yet, the scales, shimmering with the protective energy of scales of invincibility, rendered the attempt futile. In response, the prince's draconic sovereignty surged forth, elevating his presence to that of a sovereign ruler. The battlefield quivered under the draconic aura, bolstering the prince's imposing demeanor and disrupting the celestial boundless domain. The prince continued his onslaught, initiating primordial breath ignition. The torrent of primordial flames engulfed the heavenly court's experts, leaving them scorched and disoriented. The flames revealed the might of the draconic clan, forcing a retreat from the second high-level immortal realm expert. Undeterred, the heavenly court's experts unleashed their ultimate technique, the creation of a surreal minor world. Within this confined space, the prince found himself challenged by the celestial boundless domain and astral convergence seal, yet the draconic sovereignty and scales of invincibility nullified their effects. With a carefree laugh, the prince taunted, "Is this the best the human race can offer? Your minor world is nothing more than a playground for a true ruler. Prepare to witness the sovereignty of the draconic clan." The battle oscillated back and forth, the prince's ethereal wingstorm countering attempts to bind him and the primordial breath ignition forcing retreats. The draconic roar of dominion disrupted the celestial boundless domain, highlighting the whimsical and proud personality of the prince. The high-level immortal realm experts, astonished by the resilience of the prince, exchanged glances. The battlefield echoed with roars, clashes, and the undeniable truth that the draconic clan had re-entered the stage of the world with an unprecedented force. In a surprising turn of events, the prince, despite being at a cultivation disadvantage, held his ground against the high-level immortal realm experts. As the prince of the draconic clan held his own against the heavenly court's high-level immortal realm experts, they couldn't help but question him about the seemingly impossible feat of breaking the seals of the minor world. Doubt etched their expressions as they unleashed their techniques. "How did you manage to break the seals of the minor world?" one of the heavenly court experts demanded with a tinge of disbelief in his voice. Not even the ancestral supreme dragon could have accomplished such a feat. The prince of the draconic clan, with a haughty expression, responded with a tone of amusement, "Ah, you're correct. The ancestral supreme dragon would have found breaking those seals impossible. After all, they were sealed with the power of the world's essence itself." He paused for dramatic effect before continuing, "But we dragons are a tenacious bunch. We weren't about to accept our imprisonment willingly. So, what did we do, you ask?" A smirk played on the prince's draconic features as he revealed the audacious strategy employed by the draconic clan. "We started devouring the core of that minor world." His words hung in the air, leaving the heavenly court experts momentarily stunned. Eating the core of a minor world was a perilous endeavor, akin to courting death. The energy contained within was formidable and potentially lethal. After countless generations, the prince declared with a hint of pride, one dragon finally emerged, a being born with the bloodline abilities of the ancestral supreme dragon who could endure the power of the core of the minor world within his body. He pointed at himself with a self-assured grin. "I am that descendant. I devoured the core and harnessed its power, breaking the seals that bound us." The heavenly court experts, momentarily stunned by the audacity of such a feat, realized the extent of the draconic clan's determination. However, they remained steadfast, unwilling to be overshadowed. The battle resumed with renewed vigor. With a prideful grin, the prince initiated the next phase of the battle, revealing more of his draconic prowess. "Inferno roar of dominion," he declared, unleashing a torrent of scorching flames that engulfed the heavenly court experts. The flames roared with draconic fury, creating an infernal spectacle that threatened to consume everything in its path. To counter this onslaught, the heavenly court experts conjured protective barriers and unleashed their defensive techniques. One of the immortal realm experts brandished the Aegis of Sacred Warding, a powerful artifact that absorbed and dissipated the draconic flames, creating a shield against the fiery onslaught. Check out LTSTVL on novl/bin.cm. Undeterred, the prince activated the searing dragon's inferno, intensifying the heat of the flames to unprecedented levels. The battlefield became a searing inferno, testing the resilience of both sides. The Heavenly Court experts, feeling the escalating heat, adjusted their defensive formations, relying on profound techniques to withstand the draconic onslaught. Meanwhile, the two immortal realm experts of the Heavenly Court showcased their offensive capabilities. "Celestial bindings of astral convergence," exclaimed one of the experts, conjuring ethereal chains formed from celestial energy. The chains sought to ensnare the prince, restricting his movements. In response, the prince invoked the Supreme Dragon's Embrace, a potent bloodline ability that rendered the ethereal chains ineffective. The celestial bindings shattered against an invisible force, leaving the Heavenly Court experts momentarily perplexed. The prince, reveling in the chaos, decided to escalate further. "Maelstrom of draconic fury," he declared, conjuring a vortex of elemental forces that tore through the celestial defenses of the Heavenly Court experts. The maelstrom whirled with the combined power of wind, fire, and water, challenging the experts to maintain their composure. In response, the Heavenly Court experts brought forth a pair of celestial artifacts, the Twilight Scepters of Astral Warding, channeling their energy to create a protective barrier against the raging maelstrom. The clash of elemental forces intensified, creating a visual spectacle that captivated the onlookers. The prince, seizing the momentum, propelled himself into the heart of the maelstrom, demonstrating the draconic dance of tempestuous flames. His form blurred as he weaved through the elemental chaos, launching precise attacks that tested the limits of the Heavenly Court's defenses. The two high-level Immortal Realm experts, recognizing the need for a decisive move, synchronized their efforts. "Celestial Cascade Annihilation," they shouted in unison, combining their celestial energies to unleash a devastating wave of annihilation. The celestial cascade surged toward the prince, threatening to overwhelm him. In response, the prince unleashed the Scaleless Ward of Draconic Resilience, a defensive technique that formed an impervious barrier around him. The celestial cascade collided with the Draconic Ward, creating a dazzling display of conflicting energies. As the clash reached its zenith, the prince of the Draconic clan maintained his composure, his eyes gleaming with draconic pride. Amidst the roaring clash between the Draconic clan and the Heavenly Court, both sides reached a pivotal moment where the stakes were higher and the intensity of the battle escalated. The prince of the Draconic clan, sensing the need for a decisive move, unveiled the pinnacle of his draconic prowess. "Primordial cataclysmic roar," he bellowed, unleashing a roar that echoed with the ancient power of his draconic heritage. The sheer force of the roar created shockwaves that rippled through the battlefield, disorienting the Heavenly Court experts. In response, the two high-level Immortal Realm experts from the Heavenly Court invoked their most potent techniques. The first expert conjured the Astral Vanquisher's Judgment, a celestial sword infused with the power to sever the very fabric of draconic essence. The sword, glowing with ethereal radiance, slashed through the shockwaves, aiming to nullify the primordial cataclysmic roar. Simultaneously, the second expert brandished the eclipsing moonblade of Astral Conquest, a massive blade with an edge that absorbed and reflected draconic energies. With a swift motion, he swung the blade in an arc, creating a barrier of eclipsing shadows to counteract the draconic shockwaves. The battlefield became a canvas of conflicting energies, with the celestial sword and the eclipsing moonblade countering the primordial roar. The clash intensified as the prince of the Draconic clan exerted every ounce of his draconic might to maintain the dominance of his ultimate technique. However, the Heavenly Court experts had more tricks up their sleeves. "Heavenly Convergence," they shouted in unison, combining their celestial energies to form an astral convergence that sought to suppress the draconic roar. The celestial energies intertwined, creating a celestial vortex that threatened to swallow the draconic forces. Undeterred, the prince unleashed the Draconic Nova Burst, a countermeasure that infused his draconic aura with explosive energy. The Nova Burst erupted in a dazzling display of draconic brilliance, disrupting the celestial vortex and sending shockwaves rippling across the battlefield. The Heavenly Court experts, recognizing the magnitude of the Draconic Nova Burst, initiated their ultimate defensive talisman, the divine firmament seal. This talisman formed an impervious shield, deflecting the draconic shockwaves and neutralizing the explosive energy. As the battlefield quivered with the remnants of their explosive clash, both sides stood poised for the next move. The prince of the Draconic clan, his eyes ablaze with determination, prepared for another onslaught, while the Heavenly Court experts recalibrated their strategies to face the relentless force of the Draconic clan. The battle had reached a crescendo, and the fate of the battlefield hung in the balance as both sides braced themselves for the culmination of their ultimate techniques and the subsequent turning point in this breathtaking conflict. In the heart of the celestial clash, the prince of the Draconic clan, his scales aglow with draconic brilliance, conjured the culmination of his might, the supreme draconic annihilation. The air itself quivered in anticipation as the prince channeled the raw essence of his draconic lineage into a cataclysmic force. Arcane symbols of ancient power danced around him as he unleashed this ultimate attack. The Heavenly Court experts, recognizing the gravity of the impending onslaught, fortified their defenses. The first Immortal Realm expert conjured the astral sundering blades, celestial blades that sliced through space itself, seeking to disrupt the draconic annihilation. Simultaneously, the second expert invoked the ethereal moonshield of celestial absolution, a defensive barrier that shimmered with the ethereal light of astral protection. The clash between the supreme draconic annihilation and the astral sundering blades created shockwaves that resonated across the battlefield. The very fabric of space quivered under the immense strain of these titanic forces. The prince, undeterred, poured more draconic energy into his ultimate attack, causing the celestial blades to waver momentarily. In response, the Heavenly Court experts intensified their efforts. Celestial resonance, they roared in unison, harmonizing their celestial energies into a resonant wave that aimed to disrupt the draconic onslaught. The battlefield became a maelstrom of opposing forces, with the celestial resonance pushing against the draconic annihilation. The prince, sensing the need to elevate his power further, unleashed the draconic nova cataclysm. This augmented version of his earlier technique infused the draconic essence with volatile energy, creating an explosion of draconic brilliance that eclipsed the very stars. The celestial resonance strained under the overwhelming power, creating cracks in the fabric of reality. In a final gambit, the Heavenly Court experts combined their efforts to invoke the Astral Dominion Eclipse. This ultimate technique drew upon the celestial energies surrounding them, forming an astral eclipse that sought to nullify the draconic cataclysm. The clash reached a zenith, culminating in a cataclysmic explosion that ruptured the very space and created a void of cosmic proportions. In the aftermath, the battlefield lay in ruins. The once vibrant energies had dissipated into a cosmic haze, and the echoes of the clash reverberated through the void. Amidst the remnants, the prince of the Draconic clan emerged, his scales scorched, and his form battered. The celestial void echoed with his laughter, a blend of exhilaration and madness. As the dust settled, it became apparent that the high-level Immortal Realm expert of the Heavenly Court had succumbed to the overwhelming power of the Draconic Nova Cataclysm. The void bore witness to the sacrifice made by the experts of the Heavenly Court in their futile attempt to thwart the Draconic clan. The prince, tending to his wounded core essence, muttered amidst the cosmic aftermath, "Now, that was a wonderful battle." The thrill, the excitement, facing the human race was just as exhilarating as I expected. Find PT Tez on n/vln.cm. His laughter resounded through the celestial void, a clear declaration of the joy he derived from the chaotic clash. Gazing at the remnants of the human forces, the prince chuckled, "Well done, humans. You've truly given me a show worth remembering." Amidst the cosmic aftermath of the monumental clash, the Draconic clan faced the remaining forces of the Heavenly Court. Although the dragons were formidable, the mid-level Immortal Realm experts of the Heavenly Court wielded powers that made the battlefield tremble. Witnessing the prince of the Draconic clan emerge from the intense battle with grave injuries, the mid-level Immortal Realm experts seized the opportunity. They saw a chance to eliminate a powerful adversary and aimed to exploit the prince's vulnerability. One of the mid-level immortal realm experts, driven by ambition and a thirst for glory, swiftly moved toward the injured prince. His intention was clear, to strike a decisive blow and seize victory for the heavenly court. However, before the expert could unleash his deadly attack, the injured prince fixed him with a piercing draconic gaze. It wasn't a display of overwhelming power but a pure emanation of draconic aura that froze the mid-level immortal realm expert in his tracks. The intimidating gaze alone held the threat of an untamed force, and the expert dared not defy it. In that frozen moment, the prince of the draconic clan spoke with disdain, "Scram. A lowly faker like you, who hasn't even treaded the path to immortal realm through hard work, should not harbor illusions of facing me." The restrained expert, unable to move, felt a chill run down his spine. The draconic clan members gathered around their injured leader, their imposing forms acting as an impenetrable shield. The collective display of draconic strength and solidarity made it clear, no harm would befall their wounded prince. The prince, despite his injuries, exuded an aura that demanded respect. His declaration resonated across the battlefield, and the draconic clan members stood as vigilant guardians. The heavenly court's experts, uncertain of the prince's true condition, hesitated to engage in a futile battle. Sensing the shifting tides, the heavenly court's leaders made a pragmatic decision. The prince, despite his injuries, radiated a formidable battle aura, leaving the heavenly court's forces with an uneasy uncertainty. Realizing that continued engagement might lead to irreparable losses, a strategic retreat was ordered. As the draconic clan maintained their defensive formation around the prince, the heavenly court's experts withdrew, their retreat marked by a tense acknowledgement of the dragon's might. The celestial battlefield fell silent, the dragons watching with a vigilant gaze as the heavenly court's forces retreated. The prince, though injured, laughed with a touch of madness. "Retreat, humans. You've tasted the strength of the draconic clan today. Remember it well." His words echoed through the cosmic expanse, a haunting reminder of the power they had faced. With the heavenly court's retreat, the draconic clan stood victorious, their wounded leader defiant and unbroken. In the aftermath of the fierce battle, the prince of the draconic clan, despite his injuries, maintained an air of regality. The moment the heavenly court's experts retreated, the tension in his draconic form seemed to ease. However, the toll of the battle weighed heavily on him, and soon, the once mighty leader found himself succumbing to the pain and exhaustion. The draconic clan members gathered around their unconscious leader, their mighty forms creating a protective barrier. In unison, they lifted the prince and carried him with great care. As they traversed the cosmic landscape, searching for a sanctuary to tend to their leader's wounds, other ancient beast races witnessed the procession of dragons. In a rare display of deference, the other races willingly yielded their territories to the draconic clan. The dragons, with their injured leader, settled into an empty grotto, where they immediately began establishing powerful formations adorned with intricate dragon runes. The search for healing commenced, with many dragons venturing across the world in pursuit of heavenly herbs, treasures, and artifacts that could expedite the prince's recovery. The draconic clan, although a formidable force, understood the significance of their leader's condition and rallied to support him. Meanwhile, chaos erupted across the continent. In the eastern seas, the sea monster race gained strength as numerous sea monsters, including the megalodon, white whale, blue whale, and great kuan, joined their ranks. Wang Hao and his faction faced the daunting task of dealing with these powerful aquatic entities. The western deserts witnessed the emergence of rare and poisonous beasts such as the purple-tailed scorpion, crimson-headed ant, and great earthworms. Jiang Chen and his faction were challenged to contain these ancestral beast races, each presenting unique dangers. The northern region teemed with legendary and mythical birds, including the dark rock, vermilion bird, golden crow, star eagles, ice phoenix, earth vultures and falcons, moon ravens, and more. The burden of dealing with these majestic creatures fell upon the shoulders of those in the northern region, primarily the Elven race and Verzen Empire. In the southern region, ancestral beast races like the legendary mammoth and white rhino appeared, creating formidable challenges. Wang Jian's empire, responsible for this region, grappled with the threats posed by these powerful creatures. Yet, it was in the central region that the upheaval reached unprecedented levels. The Draconic clan, having claimed the grotto, stood as a formidable force alongside other legendary beast races like the ancient saber-toothed tiger, white tiger, and more. The Heavenly Court, supported by the great sects of the central region, faced an uphill battle in containing the multifaceted threats posed by these ancient and powerful entities. The chaos reverberated throughout the continents, and each faction grappled with the formidable challenges that emerged from the awakening of the ancient beast races. In a surprising turn of events, the Heavenly Court, facing the unprecedented challenges presented by the awakening of ancient beast races, decided to take an unconventional route. They dispatched an envoy to Jiang Chen's faction, seeking a meeting with the very individual who had long been considered their primary adversary. The decision to reach out to Jiang Chen, the great ancient devil and leader of a faction that held significant power, raised eyebrows among both friend and foe alike. It was an unexpected move, one that hinted at the gravity of the situation and the desperate need for alliances in the face of the newly emerged threats. Jiang Chen, known for his strategic acumen and unpredictable decisions, surprisingly accepted the Heavenly Court's request for a meeting. The news rippled through the factions, leaving many to speculate about the motives behind this unexpected diplomatic gesture. Inside the opulent chambers of the Heavenly Court, the Immortal Council convened to address the escalating challenges brought about by the awakened ancient beast races. The leader of the Heavenly Court, Supreme Immortal Jingyi, presided over the meeting. Each council member, bearing the distinguished title of Immortal, gathered to discuss the recent setbacks against the Draconic clan. Supreme Immortal Jingyi spoke, his voice echoing with a gravity that matched the situation. Esteemed immortals, the recent clashes with the Draconic clan have revealed their astonishing strength. We mourn the loss of two high-level Immortal Realm experts to their prince. This compels us to reassess our strategy. Immortal Sage Longwei, renowned for his wisdom, entered the discourse. The prince of the Draconic clan is proving to be a formidable adversary, even against our strongest. We must face this truth and consider forging strategic alliances to confront this unforeseen challenge. In response, Immortal Grandmaster Yunlai, his serene countenance reflecting deep contemplation, added, "Isolationism no longer serves our interests. The emergence of ancient races necessitates a unified front. We should explore alliances, even with figures like Jiang Chen." The mere mention of Jiang Chen, the ancient devil, prompted varied reactions among the council. Immortal Commander Shen Yu, a seasoned warrior with a discerning gaze, expressed his reservations. "Jiang Chen has long been a thorn in our side. Can we trust him even when faced with a common threat?" Immortal strategist Hua Yan, recognized for tactical brilliance, responded with a strategic perspective. "These extraordinary circumstances demand extraordinary measures. Jiang Chen's faction holds considerable power. Aligning with them may be our best chance to overcome the challenges posed by the Draconic clan and other ancient races." The council members, each offering unique insights, engaged in an extended deliberation. Immortal Sage Longwei emphasized the importance of gathering intelligence, while Immortal Grandmaster Yunlai highlighted the need for diplomatic finesse. Supreme Immortal Jingyi, after careful consideration, addressed the council. "It is true that the situation demands flexibility. We shall send an envoy to Jiang Chen, proposing a meeting to discuss a potential alliance." Immortal Commander Shen Yu, though skeptical, acknowledged the severity of the situation. Jiang Chen may be a wild card, but alliances can be forged for mutual survival. Supreme Immortal Jingyi concluded the meeting with a firm directive. "Prepare the envoy and deliver our proposal to Jiang Chen." As the council dispersed, the decision to seek an alliance with Jiang Chen set in motion a sequence of events that would shape the destiny of the Heavenly Court in this unpredictable and turbulent era. 7 days after the initial proposition, Jiang Chen found himself at neutral grounds for the anticipated meeting with the representatives of the heavenly court. The ambience was charged with an air of tension, a palpable mixture of mutual distrust and the necessity for collaboration. As Jiang Chen arrived, he opted for the diplomatic approach, sending one of his clones rather than exposing his true form. The heavenly court's envoy, led by immortal Commander Shan Yu, awaited him. Jiang Chen's clone, bearing his distinct aura, approached with measured steps. Immortal Commander Shan Yu, maintaining a composed demeanor, greeted, "Jiang Chen, your willingness to entertain this alliance is noted. Let us delve into the terms that would bind our factions in cooperation." Jiang Chen's clone, mirroring the stoic expression, inclined his head in acknowledgement. "Speak, and let's see if our interests align." The negotiations commenced with both sides presenting their conditions. Immortal Commander Shan Yu, with a direct gaze, asserted, "For the heavenly court to consider an alliance, we demand assurance. You must sign a binding agreement that commits your faction to sincerely abide by the terms until the eradication of the Draconic clan." Jiang Chen's clone, perceptive to the complexities of such an agreement, masked his thoughts behind a cryptic smile. Binding agreements are delicate matters. We must ensure the terms are fair and just for both parties. I, Jiang Chen, am willing to agree under certain conditions. Immortal Commander Shan Yu, his expression unyielding, replied, "Speak your conditions, Jiang Chen." Jiang Chen's clone, with a discerning glint in his eyes, proposed, "In exchange for my commitment, I demand the heavenly court to hand over the artifact that seals my powers and abilities. Only then can you be assured that I will be sincerely invested in our collaborative efforts." A brief pause ensued as the representatives of the heavenly court exchanged glances, contemplating the weight of Jiang Chen's request. Immortal Commander Shan Yu, after a measured silence, spoke, "We shall consider your request, Jiang Chen. But understand that the agreement will be changed according to your demands. You can't try to harm the heavenly court or the human race during this period. As long as you sign to honor the alliance, we will relinquish the artifact to release your abilities and powers." Jiang Chen's clone, a glint of shrewdness in his eyes, considered the implications. A binding agreement held complexities and potential pitfalls, but he responded with a smile, "I am amenable to such terms. Let the agreement be drafted, and I shall affix my seal upon it. Unity against the Draconic clan benefits us all." The negotiations treaded the fine line between cooperation and self-interest. As both parties engaged in the delicate dance of diplomacy, the foundations of an unlikely alliance took shape. In the southern region, where the sun cast its warm embrace across vast landscapes, a fierce struggle unfolded as Wang Jian and his assembly of concubines and mistresses confronted the onslaught of the ancient beast races. The battlefield echoed with roars and clashes as each concubine led her contingent against the formidable adversaries. Wang Jian, standing tall and resolute, unleashed waves of powerful fire-based attacks. His first concubine, Kong Huiyan, a formidable beauty with flame-wreathed fists, mirrored his efforts. Together, they formed a blazing front line, pushing back the encroaching ancient beast races with their scorching onslaught. Bishi Shuyan, the third concubine, embodied the grace of the seven-tailed silver fox. Her wind elemental abilities manifested as a whirlwind, cutting through the beastly adversaries. Lady Zhuoran, a seasoned warrior and Bishi Shuyan's mother, matched her daughter's prowess with water elemental abilities, creating a seamless dance of elements on the battlefield. Meng Xiangyi, the fifth concubine, showcased her earth elemental talents. The ground trembled beneath her as she manipulated the earth to counter the ancient beast race's advances. Wang Jian's elder sister, Wang Ying, wielded the power of frost with her rare ice and water elemental abilities, conjuring freezing gusts that slowed the enemy's movements. Discover new Tories at nv/lbin.c/o. The sixth concubine, Xiao Ling, exhibited finesse with her ice elemental sword, a shimmering blade cutting through the ancient beast races. Meanwhile, the seventh concubine, Yu Yanling, demonstrated her affinity with wood elemental forces, unleashing vines and thorns that entangled and subdued their adversaries. Eighth concubine Yiren harnessed the power of wind, creating cyclones that disoriented the ancient beast races. Victoria, with her golden rock bloodline spirit, personified the swiftness of wind, darting across the battlefield and delivering precise strikes against the ancient beast races. Ninth concubine Hua Qiao, her icy sword gleaming in the sunlight, skillfully weaved through the ranks of adversaries, leaving a trail of frozen devastation. Victoria's fierce and relentless wind-based attacks complemented Hua Qiao's icy assaults, creating a formidable synergy. Wang Jian's secret mistresses, including Lady Zhuoran, Victoria, and Wang Ying, each displayed their unique abilities. Lady Zhuoran's mastery over water elemental forces harmonized with her daughters, creating a fluid and adaptive defense. Victoria, with her extraordinary wind-based powers, added a layer of speed and precision to the overall strategy. Wang Ying, with her Frostwave Kraken sovereign bloodline spirit, unleashed torrents of icy fury, freezing the battlefield in her wake. The ancient beast races, formidable and diverse, bore names that resonated with the cultivation world: Thunderclaw sabertooths, Galewing manticores, Stoneshell rhinogryphs, Frostbite yetis, and more. Each race exhibited distinct elemental affinities and strengths, posing a dynamic challenge for Wang Jian's faction. The battle unfolded like a symphony of elements, with fire, wind, earth, water, and ice interweaving in a breathtaking display of prowess. The concubines and mistresses, in harmony with Wang Jian, orchestrated a counteroffensive that pushed the ancient beast races back. The Thunderclaw sabertooths, with fur crackling with electricity, clashed with Kong Huiyan's fiery onslaught. Bishi Shuyan's whirlwind cut through the Galewing manticores, their avian forms scattering in the tempest. Meng Xiangyi's earth elemental techniques countered the Stoneshell rhinogryphs, creating tremors that disrupted their movements. The Frostbite yetis, confronted by the icy prowess of Wang Ying and Hua Qiao, found their movements slowing to a crawl. Shaoling's sword of ice met the scorching breath of the flame vipers, creating an ephemeral dance between fire and frost. Yu Yanling's wooden tendrils ensnared the elusive Shadows Talk panthers, limiting their ability to strike from the shadows. Victoria, with her golden rock speed, darted between enemies, disrupting their formations and causing chaos. As the battle reached its crescendo, Wang Jian and his concubines and mistresses unleashed their ultimate techniques. Flames soared, winds howled, earth quaked, water surged, and ice crystallized in a mesmerizing display of elemental might. The ancient beast races, faced with this overwhelming force, found themselves caught in a maelstrom of destruction. As the battle in the southern region raged on, Wang Jian's concubines and mistresses continued their relentless assault against the ancient beast races. The Thunderclaw sabertooths, Galewing manticores, Stoneshell rhinogryphs, Frostbite yetis, and other mythical creatures faced a formidable coalition of elemental prowess. Kong Huiyan, the first concubine, unleashed her signature flame tempest, a cyclone of fire that engulfed the Thunderclaw sabertooths. Their electrically charged fur crackled as they attempted to resist the searing heat, but Kong Huiyan's fiery onslaught proved relentless. Bishi Shuyan, the third concubine, manipulated the wind to create a wind blade storm, slicing through the Galewing manticores with razor-sharp gusts. The avian creatures, known for their agility, struggled against the relentless onslaught of slicing winds. Meng Xiangyi, the fifth concubine, merged her earth elemental power with the terrain beneath her. The Stoneshell rhinogryphs found their movements impeded by the sudden upheaval of earthen spikes, disrupting their charges and causing confusion. The Frostbite yetis, resilient against the icy onslaught of Wang Ying and Hua Qiao, retaliated with chilling breath attacks. The battlefield became a clash of elemental extremes: fire against ice, earth against wind, water against thunder. Shaoling, the sixth concubine, weaved through the battlefield with her Ice Lotus stance, a combination of elegant sword techniques and freezing ice elemental attacks. The flame vipers, known for their swift strikes, found themselves entrapped in icy petals. Yu Yanling, the seventh concubine, summoned the verdant grasp, an entangling manifestation of wooden vines that ensnared the elusive shadows-talk panthers. The creatures struggled against the natural restraints, their predatory instincts thwarted. Victoria, with her golden rock bloodline spirit, darted across the battlefield like a living gust of wind. She unleashed the Skyrend Gale, a barrage of wind-infused feathers that disrupted the formations of the ancient beast races. As the battle intensified, Wang Jian, observing the entire battlefield through his spiritual senses, teleported across the southern region with the mastery of spatial laws. He moved swiftly, intervening wherever his wives faced overwhelming odds. His protective presence served as a strategic advantage, allowing his wives to focus on their offensive onslaught. The Flame Vipers, adapting to Kong Huiyan's fiery assault, countered with blazing serpent strikes, rapid lunges imbued with scorching flames. Kong Huiyan deftly dodged and retaliated with Inferno Whirlwind, redirecting their attacks with cyclonic force. Bishi Shuyan faced the aerial agility of the Gale-wing manticores. They responded with Hurricane Dive, a coordinated descent with powerful gusts. Bishi Shuyan countered by creating a windshield barrier, deflecting the gusts and maintaining her defensive stance. The Stone Shell Rhinogryphs, challenged by Meng Xiangyi's earth manipulation, retaliated with Stonequake Stampede, a synchronized charge causing seismic tremors. Meng Xiangyi retaliated with earthen pillars, creating protective barriers that withstood the tremors. Wang Ying and Hua Qiao faced the relentless frostbite yetis, whose frigid roar threatened to freeze everything in its path. The icy breath clashed with Wang Ying's frostwave tempest, resulting in a chilling storm that tested the limits of elemental control. The sourk of this content N/O/V/L/N. Xiao Ling, with her Ice Lotus stance, engaged in a swift dance with the Flame Vipers. They countered with Ember Strike, quick, fiery lunges designed to exploit any opening. Xiao Ling responded with Frostbite Flourish, a series of precise strikes that exploited their fiery nature. Yu Yanling's Verdant Grasp faced the Shadows-talk Panther's Shadow Pounce, a rapid, shadow-infused assault. The mystical vines clashed with the elusive shadows, creating a dynamic exchange of natural forces. Victoria, the Golden Rock, soared through the battlefield, facing the agile movements of the ancient beast races. They countered with Thunderclap Assault, coordinated sonic bursts to disorient their targets. Victoria responded with Skyrend Gale, creating an aerial whirlwind that disrupted their coordinated attacks. As Wang Jian's protective interventions continued, the southern region became a spectacle of elemental clashes. Wang Jian's concubines and mistresses, empowered by their unique abilities, showcased the strength of unity against the ancient beast races. The battlefield, marked by the remnants of elemental attacks and the resilience of the ancient beast races, unfolded with dynamic intensity. The fate of the southern region hung in the balance as the struggle between man and ancient beast continued unabated. As the battle in the southern region reached its climax, the concubines and mistresses of Wang Jian unleashed their ultimate attacks against the formidable ancient beast races. The air crackled with energy as each devastating ability bore a name befitting its power. Kong Huiyan, the first concubine, ignited the Flame Inferno Cataclysm. A vortex of scorching flames spiraled around her, converging into a concentrated blast that engulfed the Thunderclaw Sabertooths. The ferocious felines roared as the searing flames overwhelmed them, leaving only charred remnants in their wake. Bishi Shuyan, the third concubine, summoned the tempest-rending cyclone. A colossal whirlwind of razor-sharp winds sliced through the gale-wing manticores. The avian creatures squawked in futile resistance as the winds tore through their wings, grounding them in defeat. Meng Xiangyi, the fifth concubine, invoked the Earth-Shatter Quake. Tremors erupted beneath the Stone Shell Rhinogryphs, disrupting their coordinated charge. The ground beneath them fractured, creating chasms that swallowed the colossal beasts in the wake of the seismic onslaught. Xiao Ling, the sixth concubine, performed the Frostblade Elegy. Her ice elemental sword danced with ethereal grace as it released frigid waves. The flame vipers, entrapped in the icy dance, succumbed to the biting cold, their fiery essence extinguished. Yu Yanling, the seventh concubine, commanded the verdant dominion bind. Lush vines sprouted, entwining the shadows-talk panthers in a verdant prison. The elusive predators struggled against the natural restraints, their shadows unable to escape the constricting grasp. Victoria, the golden rock, unleashed the gale-storm feathers. Feathers infused with wind elemental power rained down on the ancient beast races. The thunderclap assault of the ancient beast races was nullified as the swirling feathers disrupted their coordinated sonic bursts. Wang Ying, with her frostwave tempest, clashed against the chilling breath of the frostbite yetis. The battleground became a frosty maelstrom as the ice and cold energies clashed. Wang Ying's mastery over water and ice prevailed, freezing the yetis in place before shattering them into crystalline fragments. Hua Qiao, the ninth concubine, executed the crystalline frostblade dance. Her sword danced with frozen elegance as she engaged in a fierce duel with the ancient beast races of the southern region. The deadly precision of her attacks left a trail of frozen adversaries. Wang Jian, observing the battlefield with his spiritual senses, identified the moment when the strongest experts of the ancient beast races prepared to unleash their ultimate attacks. With swift precision, he utilized his shadow attribute to swallow the impending onslaught. The ancient beast races found themselves momentarily defenseless as their own attacks were absorbed into the shadowy abyss. Seizing the opportune moment, the concubines and mistresses of Wang Jian coordinated their strikes. Each unleashed their ultimate attacks, converging on the momentarily vulnerable ancient beast races. The onslaught was relentless as the cataclysmic forces collided, extinguishing the formidable adversaries. The aftermath of the battle revealed a landscape transformed by elemental clashes and the resilience of the southern region against the ancient beast races. After the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Wang Jian gathered his concubines and mistresses. With a casual air, he initiated the conversation about the unexpected emergence of the ancient beast races from the minor worlds. "Well, that was quite a surprise," Wang Jian remarked, a wry smile playing on his lips. "I never expected them to come out of the minor worlds so suddenly, and they're certainly more powerful than I anticipated." His concubines exchanged glances, a mix of exhaustion and satisfaction evident in their expressions. Kong Huiyan, her flame-wreathed form now subdued, responded with a smirk, "Tough, but we handled it." "Don't you think so, Wang Jian?" Wang Jian chuckled, appreciating the confidence in her tone. "Indeed, you did. Every one of you has shown significant growth and a better understanding of how to utilize your powers. I'm proud of each of you." Amidst the nods of agreement, Victoria, the Golden Rock, and Wang Ying exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of determination and contemplation. Wang Jian noticed the subtle shift and directed his attention toward them. "What's on your minds, Victoria, Wang Ying?" he inquired, his gaze attentive. Victoria spoke first, her voice carrying the weight of experience. "Wang Jian, I appreciate your praise, but there's room for improvement. The ancient beast races were formidable, and their emergence caught us off guard." Wang Ying, Wang Jian's elder sister, added, "She's right. We need to be prepared for more challenges. These ancient beast races might just be the beginning. There could be others, smarter ones, concealing themselves in the shadows." Wang Jian nodded in agreement, acknowledging the validity of their concerns. "You're both correct. We can't afford to underestimate the situation. The emergence of the ancient beast races hints at a larger picture. We have to stay vigilant and adapt to whatever comes our way." The concubines, except for Victoria and Wang Ying, expressed their happiness at Wang Jian's praise. Well, this was kinda natural since Victoria and Wang Ying still hated Wang Jian. However, Wang Jian had conquered their bodies so thoroughly that betraying him wasn't in their minds at all. They felt it was completely impossible. Meanwhile, Kong Huiyan grinned and nudged Bishi Shuyan. "Looks like our hard work paid off, Shuyen. Bishi Shuyen, the third concubine and a seven-tailed silver fox, chuckled, indeed, it did. But Wang Jian's right, we can't get complacent. There's more to come, and we have to be ready for it. Wang Jian, sensing the camaraderie among his women, added, stay sharp, everyone. We're in for a challenging ride. As the remnants of the ancient beast races were being dealt with in the southern region, Wang Jian turned his attention to the lesser-known races that had emerged from the minor worlds. Among them were the goblin race, the troll race, and the kobold race, all ambitious and potentially challenging to integrate into Wang Jian's dominion. The goblin race, with their cunning nature and a penchant for mischief, had established small tribes scattered across the dense forests of the southern region. The trolls, formidable in strength but lacking in intellect, roamed the mountainous terrains. The kobolds, known for their affinity with underground tunnels, posed a unique challenge. As Wang Jian mobilized his forces to conquer these races, he realized that their ambitions and desire for sovereignty were strong. They weren't willing to yield to an external ruler easily. The conquest would require a show of force. The goblin tribes, scattered in the deep woods, were the first to face the might of Wang Jian. The goblin leaders, feeling their dominance threatened, gathered their forces to resist the incoming intrusion. They were known for their ability to blend into their surroundings, making it challenging for traditional forces to navigate their territories. Wang Jian, understanding the need for a decisive display, chose to reveal his true power. The gnomes, a lesser-known race with a natural affinity for illusions, attempted to cloak their surroundings, creating an environment of confusion. However, Wang Jian's spiritual senses easily penetrated the illusions, rendering them ineffective. With a mere wave of his hand, Wang Jian unleashed his spatial laws, teleporting across the goblin territories, creating an awe-inspiring display of dominance. The very earth trembled beneath his feet, and the goblins, witnessing the overwhelming power, hesitated. In the troll-inhabited mountains, the towering figures resisted the intrusion fiercely. The trolls, with their brute strength and resilience, posed a physical challenge. Wang Jian, however, displayed his martial prowess, effortlessly countering their attacks and swiftly disabling their leaders. The trolls, witnessing their leaders fall, were left in a state of disarray. The kobolds, masters of underground tunnels, attempted to wage a guerrilla war against Wang Jian's forces. They were adept at setting traps and ambushing unsuspecting intruders. However, Wang Jian's keen strategic mind anticipated their moves. His knowledge of the kobolds' tactics allowed him to navigate the underground passages without falling victim to their traps. Confronted by the overwhelming power of Wang Jian, the kobold leaders reluctantly acknowledged the futility of resistance. They began to see the potential benefits of aligning with Wang Jian's dominion, where their skills could be utilized rather than squandered in feudal conflict. Throughout these conquests, Wang Jian demonstrated not only his martial prowess but also his ability to navigate various terrains and counter the unique abilities of each race. His display of strength left an indelible mark on the minds of the conquered races. As the goblin, troll, and kobold races bowed to Wang Jian's rule, the ambitious and power-hungry nature of these races was subdued by the sheer dominance of Wang Jian's presence. The southern region, witnessing the assimilation of these races, began to stabilize under Wang Jian's authority. Meanwhile, in the northern region, the emergence of the sylphs, druid spirits, gnomes, and undine had a different impact. The elven dominion, already well established in the northern region, received a significant boost as these races aligned with the elves. The northern region became a harmonious blend of nature-centric races, all coexisting under the protective canopy of the World Tree. The elves, with their affinity for nature and the World Tree's influence, seamlessly integrated these newfound allies. The sylphs, spirits of the air, danced alongside the elegant elves. The gnomes, known for their craftsmanship, collaborated with the elves in the construction of intricate structures. The undine, water spirits, added a serene presence to the northern region's lakes and rivers. The druid spirits, in particular, found a natural synergy with the elves, as both shared a deep connection with nature. The Elf-Druid alliance strengthened the protective enchantments around the World Tree, ensuring the northern region remained a sanctuary for the races that had pledged allegiance. The emergence of these races, each with its unique abilities and characteristics, brought diversity and vibrancy to the previously tranquil northern region. As the elves and their newfound allies celebrated the harmony of their coexistence, they prepared for the challenges that lay ahead, mindful of the unpredictable nature of the minor worlds. In the central region, the Heavenly Court faced its own set of challenges in assimilating the races that had emerged. The complexities of alliances, power dynamics, and potential conflicts unfolded as the various factions navigated the delicate balance between cooperation and competition. The continent, once marked by the dominance of human civilizations, now bore the imprint of ancient and mystical races, each vying for its place in the ever-evolving tapestry of the cultivation world. The news of the Heavenly Court's alliance with Jiangchen reverberated across the cultivation world like a thunderclap, sending shockwaves through factions and territories. Even Wang Jian, who was engrossed in managing the assimilation of races in the southern region, couldn't escape the impact of this unexpected development. Wang Jian couldn't help but feel a tinge of astonishment. The realization struck him that for such an alliance to take place, the Heavenly Court must have relinquished the artifact that contained Jiang Chen's suppressed powers. This, in turn, meant that Jiang Chen would soon recover his full strength and, in all likelihood, break through to the immortal realm. The prospect of Jiang Chen ascending to a higher realm of cultivation sent a shiver down Wang Jian's spine. He knew that facing a cultivator at the immortal realm would be a formidable challenge, and he questioned whether his current strength was sufficient for such a confrontation. Your favorite ovals at n/vl/bin.com. In response to this unexpected turn of events, Wang Jian decided to prioritize his own cultivation. He acknowledged the urgency of the situation and realized that if he wanted to stand a chance against the potential threat posed by Jiang Chen, he needed to expedite his progress towards the immortal realm. Wang Jian had been cautious in assimilating the world hearts, particularly because the process of integration was unpredictable and required an unknown amount of time. His reluctance to leave his wives unprotected during this crucial period had led him to adopt a more gradual approach. Now, however, the circumstances demanded a change in strategy. Wang Jian recognized the need to concentrate all his efforts on assimilating the world heart swiftly. The closed-door cultivation, an intensive and focused practice, became the most viable option for him to accelerate his journey towards the immortal realm. As Wang Jian delved into seclusion within the depths of his cultivation chambers, the world outside continued to grapple with the repercussions of the evolving cultivation landscape. As Wang Jian delved into his closed-door cultivation, the rest of the cultivation world continued to experience seismic shifts. In the eastern seas, Wang Hao's faction achieved a significant victory by successfully conquering the sea monsters that had emerged from the minor world. The megalodon shark, the blue whale, and other formidable sea creatures were now under their command. However, the triumph extended beyond mere conquest. Wang Hao's faction stumbled upon a remarkable artifact after subduing the colossal megalodon shark, the Sea King's bead. This precious bead granted Wang Hao unprecedented control over the sea monsters. With a mere command, he could direct these aquatic beings, and they were bound to obey. The Sea King's bead also held the invaluable ability to translate the language of the sea monsters for Wang Hao. This linguistic bridge facilitated communication, opening avenues for cooperation and strategic planning with the newly subjugated sea denizens. The war god spirit within Wang Hao's soul took an active role in guiding him through the process of assimilating the Sea King's bead into his dantian. This intricate fusion not only enhanced Wang Hao's powers but also imbued him with a profound mastery over the water element. The potent energies of the sea now coursed through him, expanding his elemental repertoire. As Wang Hao refined his connection with the Sea King's bead, he could feel the ebb and flow of the oceanic forces within him. The synergy between the artifact and his cultivation foundation was unlocking a reservoir of potential, and the war god spirit ensured that Wang Hao harnessed this newfound power with precision. With the newly acquired sea monster race firmly aligned with his faction, Wang Hao found himself brimming with excitement and anticipation. The once perceived underdog, his faction, now stood on equal footing with some of the most formidable powers in the cultivation world, the Heavenly Court, Jiang Chen's faction, and even Wang Jian's forces. The balance of power had shifted dramatically, and Wang Hao relished the prospect of what lay ahead. The newfound strength and strategic advantage provided by the sea monster race fueled Wang Hao's ambitions. His next move, however, was carefully calculated. Instead of an immediate assault on other factions, he decided to bide his time and assess the unfolding events in the central region. The emergence of the ancient beast races, particularly the formidable Supreme Draconic clan, added a layer of complexity to the current scenario. Wang Hao chose to wait and understand the intentions of the Supreme Draconic clan before making any overt moves. The recent clash between the Draconic clan and the Heavenly Court served as a stark reminder of the potential power and threat posed by the dragons. Even the war god spirit within Wang Hao's consciousness, a being of the higher world, advised caution when dealing with the Draconic clan. The Supreme Draconic clan's latent abilities and their ability to challenge even higher realm beings like the war god spirit made them formidable opponents. Wang Hao recognized the prudence in avoiding direct conflict with such a powerful race. As he monitored the situation, he considered the possibility that the Supreme Draconic clan might have designs on the Eastern Sea region, and they had to consider the possibility of fighting against this clan, so he ordered his faction to set up the defensive measures. The waiting game continued, a delicate balance of anticipation and strategy. The sea monster race, now aligned with Wang Hao, eagerly awaited their leader's command, ready to unleash their might when the opportune moment arrived. Well, truckers, that's all for this part. See you all in the next part.